All right, and we're live. Hello, and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We're doing something a little different, but not. I mean, we're playing games, so that's pretty typical. But we are playing something brand new tonight. It's COREthulhu. It is a hack of the core system that I just finished up working on. It's, for the podcast listeners, I'm using air quotes. It's done. Jesse's got it in the layout for me. This is our first official playtest. We know that Core works. Core was created by Todd Foley, who you should all know if you listen to the podcast. Day Trippers, the engine that runs Day Trippers is Core. I wrote down probably what that means somewhere, but I forget. It's the Creative Options role-playing engine, I believe. Todd came up with, so he stripped, wow, this is going to be all over the place. So he stripped out the system from Day Trippers to create Core Micro. It's available on Drive-Thru RPG. There's a link in the show notes. It's a narrative dice system. It's super easy to use. I mean, again, if you listen to the podcast, that's what our Day Trippers game is. And his idea was to have it out there, have people hack it, and then try to get this together and put an omnibus together, collect all these different settings, different mechanics, revenue sharing, that whole 9 yards. So Kurt has one. It's the Woodland Wrestling Federation, right? Did I get it right?
Association. Thank you.
Okay. There you go.
You're so close.
He got sued by the World Wildlife Fund.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want any letters. Don't write me any letters. Don't at me.
Jesse did Monster Hunt, which is sort of a fantasy D&D-esque system along with magic. Todd's got Unnatural out. He's working on the Land of Oo. And I, obviously went for the Cthulhu because I don't know, why wouldn't you do that? So it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. You can check out Core Micro. Like I said, the link in the show notes. Download that. It's free. Pay what you want. Again, it's super easy to use, super easy to skin. It's kind of like, I guess, Savage Worlds in that sense that you can use that basic mechanic and run anything. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be doing Cthulhu. I did not write a scenario. I did not come up with anything original. We're going to use the Lightless Beacon tonight. It was written by, let me scroll. Oh my God, so much editing. Written by Lee Carr with additional work by Lynn Hardy. It was released for Greg Stafford, honoring Greg Stafford after he passed away. So it's less core-esque in that it's a little bit more of a A to B scenario. It's meant to be played as a 1 hour demo. So for us with 2 players, I don't know, 2.5, right? So we'll see what happens with that. And we're just trying to play around with mechanics to see how things work. So we're going to jump into it. I'm going to have you guys introduce your characters and tell us whatever you want to tell us about them. So if you want to go ahead, Kurt.
Shit, I have to go first? No, I don't want to. All right, so I apologize. It's been a long week, so I'm going to read exactly what he wrote with a little bit of flair. My name is I will be playing Johnny Oscar, FBI agent. Okay, sorry. This is terrible. I'm already failing. I apologize.
We'll retake it.
So I'm an FBI agent. Duh. Current assignment is keeping an eye out for illegal activity conducted along the popular East Coast shipping routes. There's been nothing to report, but I have a friend, Warren Thomas, who has been undercover as Michael Turner, that says he has some information for me, so I'm going to be rendezvousing with him to find out what the hell is going on. I am in this godforsaken place and trying to figure out what the heck's going on because it's creepy as hell, and I feel like everyone's got eyes on me, even though I can't see what's out there. So that's me, Johnny Oscar.
Nice.
Okay, I'm Arthur Nebbit. I'm an antiques dealer. I've recently gone legit from my life previously as maybe not so legit. I got a letter from my former partner in crime asking me about selling some strange goods that he had. So I need to go up and check on him because he was kind of the weakest link in our gang chain previously. He doesn't really go in for the OPSEC, so I need to go find out what's going on and get some more information from my former running partner to see what he's up to.
And did he tell you what strange things that he found or no?
He just sent me a letter and saying if I was still in the business, and he had some goods to sell that were strange and exotic. So that's about the only thing I've gotten from the letter. And just from my past experience with him, that could go many different ways. And invariably, it's going to boomerang back on me if I get too involved. But he is an old friend of mine, so I'm trying to watch out for him also while watching out for myself.
Nice. All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to share this with you guys. Let me see what the screen looks like. All right, so we'll zoom on that. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Nope. Yep, there it is. Fuck.
Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1.
All right, so we're going to say you guys are leaving from Newburyport. It is the evening of April 12th, 1926. It's the last. It's not really a ferry. It's sort of a combined passenger ship, cargo ship. There are regular trips from Newburyport out to Rockport, which is where you guys are going to be going. So I'll read you the flavor here. It says, well, before we read the flavor, so you're on the thing. We now know what you're doing because you told us. How do you feel about your trip? What are you doing during the travel? Say probably takes maybe, I don't know what the distances are on that, like 2 or 3 hours. And you guys are on that last boat ride for the night. So what are you guys, how are you guys feeling? What are you guys thinking about? What is your outlook on this trip?
So do Arthur and Johnny know each other?
You tell me. Have you guys associated at all?
I'm trying to think with Arthur's background. Maybe he's rubbed up against Johnny, whether Johnny was in his current iteration as an FBI agent or undercover, maybe. So maybe
you could say that Johnny like arrested his buddy on like a petty charge or something like that.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, because obviously I'm going to go check on his name's George, right? Yeah. So Arthur's going to check on George because, just past history that George was always the one to kind of leave threads dangling that other people could pick up, most notably the cops. So he's trying to go help clean up if there's anything to clean up there. So maybe Johnny is someone, that pinched George in the past. But we'll say that Johnny doesn't know that Arthur was involved with George on the Simi side. Maybe it's just like an acquaintance. So if we're sitting there, maybe Arthur will say that, he recognizes Johnny from past court appearances, right? So if you're in court and someone's being brought up on charges, obviously the arresting officer or whatever has to be in court there also. So Arthur will say, look over to Johnny and say, is there anything specific with George that you've heard that we're going up to see, or is this just kind of a wellness check? I guess they wouldn't say that in the 20s, right? You're just going to go check and see if he's scheming on anything.
So I'm trying to get the lay of like why you would come up to me and talk to me about this. Like, are we friends now?
Well, no, maybe so. Arthur will come up and say, hey, I recognize you. It was in a different time, a different life in court. My friend was dinged up on some charges, and you were like the arresting officer, or you were one of the state's witness. And I got a letter from that friend. I was just wondering if it's late at night in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts, and we're both heading in the same direction. So it can't be a coincidence that we're both going to the same place.
So then Johnny kind of gives Arthur the kind of like the side eye, like, wow, he's pretty talkative to somebody who's already arrested his best friend in the past or whatever. And he says, and he tries to play along, and he's just kind of like, yeah, I heard that your buddy's in some hot water again, I feel like, and I was just up there to figure out why he's got his hand in the candy jar again. What information do you have that you may have gotten from him?
So Arthur will pull his jeweler's loop out of his pocket, and I guess the picture of it's on my thing. So what it is just kind of like almost like a little magnifying glass, and you fold a circle that goes over your eye, and when you fold it back, there's a compass that is on top of the case of it. So he kind of fiddles with it a bit, and he flicks the glass out and holds it up to his eye and says, I'm an antiques dealer, and George said that he had found some stuff where he's working now, and he wanted me to come and appraise it for him to get a value or the history of maybe some of the objects he had. We're in an area of the country where everybody's loft and attic has lots of stuff left over from the past, and a lot of that can be worth a lot of money. So he asked me to come up and give him an evaluation of some of the stuff he has.
Has he given you any idea of the origin of said antiques?
He sent me a letter, but it wasn't very descriptive. He just asked me if I had any slots open for an upcoming auction, and I told him yes. And he said he might have some stuff that may be able to slot in that auction. And he said it would do him some good to offload some of this stuff. I don't know if he's a new job he's doing, whether he's cleaning out some stuff or he's found some stuff, but it could help him either clear out his storage area or fill up his bank account. I think he said it could do a little bit of both. So I'm going up to see what he has.
And
with a small finder's fee, of course, for me.
So Johnny kind of gives him another side eye again, and he's like, why are you telling me all of this?
Arthur will look around and say, well, there's really not too much excitement on this ferry at the moment. I guess maybe it's a bit of nerves being out on the water. He'll kind of look over the rail a bit and say, I'm not a very good passenger on boats, so I'm trying to burn off some of my nervous energy and not think too much on the fact that we're floating on top of something that goes down thousands of feet, and the only thing between us and that is some steel underneath us. And he'll start fidgeting with his jeweler's loop again a bit, flick the glass in and out and kind of roll it over in his hands a bit. And you can see he's like tapping one of his legs. So obviously he's not a very good passenger on the ship.
So what you're telling me is you're here to help a friend that has had trouble in the past. You've had trouble in the past, but you've, according to what you're telling me, you've gone straight. But knowing what you know now, this could lead to some trouble, right?
So Arthur will look over and say, I haven't gone straight. I've always been doing this So obviously, Arthur will get a bit more anxious and just say, "This is just a favor for a friend of mine. I know he's trying really hard to get back on the straight and narrow. And if there's anything I can help him to keep him on that path, that's what friends are for."
Arthur, why don't you go ahead and give me a charm check with persuasion or fast talk, whatever you have to try to convince Johnny that you've been straight and narrow the whole time.
Okay, so I for charm I got persuasion and fast talk. So I think let's do fast talk, because obviously persuasion, Arthur's a bit distracted because he's not a good a boat passenger. So I don't think he would do the persuasion. He would just try to keep talking fast to get it done. So he's focused on the water and what's underneath him. So that would be, Jesus Christ. So literally, so I know this doesn't matter, but out of 4 dice, I rolled 3 1s and a 5. So thank God the ones don't mean anything, right? So
right.
So 5 is the highest.
Oh shit. So let's see. I guess should that probably be an opposed check then? Probably, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So Johnny, you want to give me a brains check or maybe a psyche check?
Okay. I think I will do a brains check, but also can I use my... I'm trying to think if I should do brains with investigation, because I'm technically kind of almost interrogating
I would think that
him.
Makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a Fed, so yeah.
All right. So I got 2 2s and a 4.
So you got a 5 as well?
Correct.
All right. So that's so what happens on a tie? Fuck, I don't know.
Tie goes to the runner.
So let's do it this way. So Arthur believes he's pulled one over on Johnny, and Johnny thinks he's kind of sussed out Arthur. So they both think they've done good on whatever they were trying to do.
Yeah, they both say in the back of their minds, "I've got you now." At the same time.
Yeah, because it's not so like combat would be oppositional rolls, and then that's how you get your action resolution. But it makes sense to me that like in a verbal sparring combat, that it would also be an opposed roll, right? So yeah, so 5-5, so nobody wins.
Yeah, maybe nobody learns anything. Maybe again, I think
Arthur thinks he's completely covered himself, that he's just a fancy antiques dealer, and Johnny thinks this guy's crooked and he's going up to help his other crooked buddies.
Yeah, I mean that probably makes sense, because there's nothing that's like a tie. Like I read the GM's guide for day trippers earlier today, and I didn't. There was nothing that stuck out for me as far as like ties go.
Yeah, well, it just makes sense. If nobody wins, then both lose. It just makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Continue.
Hey, John, can I see faces?
Oh yeah, we can pop that up.
Yeah. I like it, but it's hard to talk to a map.
Yeah. I thought about it earlier, and I'm like, well, but we're gonna need it, so I'll just leave it.
Yeah. It can come back.
So I cheated a bit. So I've got my jeweler's loop, right, which is one of my life shapers, but I also found one that has a compass on it. So hopefully that'll come in handy. There's a compass built into it. So
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So so Johnny again looks at Arthur again, and he says, I hope for your sake, what you think you're going to be doing, you don't do anything untoward. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put you both away. You know that, right?
Don't worry, pal. This, I'm in the antiques business, so everything's always above board. You've got to have history of whatever you're selling and the provenance, and we're not out here, selling looted items or anything. So I'm in here just to make a bit of money and try to help my friend get back on the righteous path. So you don't have to worry about me. And then, he'll flick down the lens on his jeweler sleeve and put it back in his pocket.
So, just for reference, like Johnny's been writing down a little notepad all that they've been kind of talking about this whole time.
This isn't off the record. This is on the record.
Yeah, exactly. Because Arthur hasn't. Arthur's just verbal diarrhea, and he's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna write everything incriminating you just said down.
You didn't read me my Miranda rights, but those didn't come out to the 60s, so I don't.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and Johnny's thinking to himself too that like you still haven't met with your friend yet, so he's thinking like, well, obviously nothing has technically happened, but I can keep, because now I know this information, I can keep an eye out. So
I think Arthur takes it as, so obviously he's completely nervous and distracted by the situation he's in. So he's thinking to himself, well, I'm sitting here fidgeting because I don't like being out on the water. So this Johnny guy, he's probably just like doodling and distract himself because, people aren't meant to be in boats. They're supposed to be on land. So
yeah. And you can tell like, Johnny probably, it's hard to read Johnny because Johnny always has a look of like disdain on his face because he just does not want to be there. So regardless if he's riding a boat or, driving in a car or walking, he's just does not want to be there. So he's just kind of like, no.
Cool. All right. You guys stand together in a companionable silence. Does Arthur walk away?
I think Arthur pulls out a cigarette and lights it and kind of, would they have cigarettes in pack? No. So obviously he's got the little, they wouldn't have a pack of cigarettes. He has the little silver. So he, opens it and offers a cigarette to Johnny. And, just sits there and stares out. Actually, no, he doesn't stare out over the rail. He goes back and tries to find a bench a bit further away from the edge and sit down after offering Johnny a cigarette.
Yeah. And Johnny doesn't even bother like saying anything. He just kind of sits there and kind of reads his notes and kind of just mumbles to himself a little bit and then just does not move from where he is.
And Arthur's on the bench and you can see him smoking with one of his legs tapping up and down very quickly. Keeps looking at his watch to see how much longer the boat's going to be on the water.
And what happened to Arthur that caused him to fear the water so much?
So we're saying this is the 20s, right? So one of the things that George and Arthur was involved in, okay, so we're in Massachusetts, so this fits in, right? So the Kennedy family made all their money from bootlegging during Prohibition. They used to go up to Canada to bring back booze over during Prohibition. So let's say Arthur and George were on a run for Old Man Kennedy to bring back some bourbon. What was it? Canadian Club? What's the Canadian? Crown Royal. There we go. Crown Royal. I think that's Canadian. Across one of the Great Lakes, coming back over from the border from New York and Canada. Is it Lake Erie? And so they were on Lake Erie bringing back a bunch of stuff, being bootleggers. And right before they got back to the coast of New York, the boat they were on started to sink. And Arthur's not a very good swimmer, and he also saw all his profits go down the drain. So from that point on, he doesn't like being on a boat because it was a financial loss, and it was also a bit of a psychic loss that he was stuck out in the middle of water in the middle of the night when the boat went down.
Okay. And how does Johnny care at all about being on the water? We know he's sort of creeped out about just like this area in general.
Yeah, no, his dad was an old fisherman, so he's been on the water a ton. Yeah, he doesn't mind it at all. It doesn't bother him. It does. Even though things were made a little differently back then, like he just, yeah. It's just another day on the water for him.
And he keeps shaking his head every time he sees Arthur kind of start fidgeting. Rookie keeps shaking his head.
What is it about this area, about Massachusetts, I guess, in particular, that has Johnny sort of creeped out?
Well, it just it's for some reason, like when he thought of Massachusetts, he thought it would be, a really kind of a sunny, delightful place from all the things that he's heard. But every day he's been there has been a drag. Like the weather has been awful. Like, it's been, it hasn't been, it's been rarely sunny these days. It's been a little misty and, foggy, like, uncommonly foggy throughout the time he's been there and stuff like that. And it's just one of those things where it doesn't make the back of his hair stand up, but it feels like something is on the back of his neck and he can't quite shake it. It just most people would be like more creeped out. He's definitely creeped out, but he's more pissed about it. He's more like, just get off of me, whatever you are. He just hates it.
Nice. All right, cool. All right. So as you guys are, sort of sitting there, each lost in your own thoughts, you hear, the 8:00 bell ring, marking time for the ship. You hear the waves, slapping off the side of the boat, and you check your watch. It's just about 8:00, and all of a sudden, it gets dark. As you're coming around towards Rockport, I'm going to throw the map back up again. Oop, nope, I don't need to bring up the PDF. I need to share my screen. Right, that's how this works. Oop. And that, and back to here.
Oh, it is dark.
Why is it not working?
Because Cthulhu has taken it over. This is now what we see. Nothing.
Oh, that's weird. All right, well, let me stop sharing. Let me try it again. So share screen. Yep, I want to do that. Share the screen. Go to the window. I have this cool PDF that I have opened up. And it's not going to work. Cool. That's awesome. I love it. All right, great.
Well, hey, people can just rewind back to the part where they saw the map, and this is what we see. So
cool. So as you guys are coming in from Newburyport, Follies Point sort of juts up here. There's the Beacon Island, and then it kind of comes up and around, and then Rockport's down over here on the other side. So as the bell rings, you see the light off in the distance, whether you're not really paying any attention to it. The light goes out. You hear sort of a clamor. You hear people rushing around. One of the ship hands kind of comes out and it's like, all right, everybody calm down. It's fine. We'll contact the light. We'll see. Hopefully it's just a quick fix. Maybe the bulb blew. And then you just hear this horrible fucking crunch, crack, as you're sort of coming around by the island as the ship runs aground. The fuck me. The SS Essex County. Wow, that's a bad.
Yeah, why would you put all of those S's together? That's terrible.
So many S's.
To trip up the keeper, they just wrote that in just to make sure that they couldn't say it straight the first time through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, the lanterns, sway on board. One of the guys comes out, runs over the ship. It's starting to go, and the ship is going down. The ship is going down. Come on. And they start like pushing you towards the rail, and he starts swinging out the lifeboat. And he's like, all right, you guys are going to have to look, we're going to put you on the boat. I'm going to grab the captain. We're going to get on the other boat. You've got to go. The ship's not going to make it. If they're not going to, even if the light comes up, it doesn't matter. We'll try to contact the Coast Guard. And they, push you towards the, get over. They're like pushing you over the rail. Arthur, I want you to give me a psyche check.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. So
this is all too familiar.
Big water, little water,
Hold on, let
or
me
big
give
boat,
you
little boat.
let me
so
give you
Arthur,
the,
when this happens, when he hears the crunch and the light go out, he kind of just freezes. So he stops. You know, his fidgeting stops, and he's got his jeweler's loop in his right pocket. And just from past experience and reflexes, his hand goes to kind of his left hand side, but he doesn't stick his hand in the pocket. He just kind of sticks his hand on the outside of his pocket, and then whenever he gets shuffled over to the lifeboat, he gets a bit squirrely and he starts looking around. So we'll see how this goes. 2 and a 1, so no 6s.
Ouch.
Wow, that's going to be bad for you. I
Mhm.
was going to make the DL3,
Hey,
which I think is
shake your hand off your mouth. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to make the DL3 because that's challenging. I
Yeah,
believe
that makes sense.
I'm trying to find the chart. I didn't have the Core Micro book open because I'm terrible at this.
But it was in the Cthulhu one too, wasn't it? Down at the end.
I don't know. So that's a whole different thing. So we're gonna roll on that now.
Okay.
All right. So because you failed,
Oh,
well, you got a 2. So it's a yes, but. So
Okay.
or I'm sorry, a no, but. Right? No, it's a. Hold on.
no, and
Hold on.
Oh,
So you failed by 1.
Yeah.
So it's a no, but. So something
but.
positive happens.
something positive. You don't.
So-
So I think the positive is I actually get in the lifeboat, right?
You know,
you
you
live to see another day.
you don't fall into the churning waters below.
or stay on the ship going down. I'm going to go
Yeah.
down with the ship.
Exactly. You just stand on the ship and go, "I see you, Captain." And you just salute. And,
Yeah.
All right, but what we are going to do, and I should have the COREthulhu book open because I don't have that open either. Because why would I open up the game that we're going to play to have?
Hey, it's only a demo. We can do whatever we want.
Is it the shock table? AJ.
Yes, you are going to roll on the shock table, sir.
Okay. So there's that 2. Is that 2 dice, right?
Yeah, so you're going to roll 2d6.
Okay. And that is a 2. Holding. So double
so you're
ones.
holding it together.
These dice are freaking garbage. I've rolled all 1s and 2s. all night. But this one actually helped me because I'm holding it together.
So keep those ones for shock,
Yeah, exactly.
and then find another set.
Yeah.
How is Johnny taking this? Is Johnny completely freaked out? Does Johnny need to make like your rolls? Well, probably, right? I mean, the ship's going down.
The ship's going. Yeah. He's pretty good under pressure, but let's just say because he just is creeped out by some things and is kind of pissed off about others or whatever. Let's just say he's a little bit.
Well, if his old man was a fisherman, he knows the deal, but then he just hates being in this area. So it's kind of a trade-off, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what am I rolling?
So you're going to roll Psyche. So
Psyche.
however number. So if you have like a Psyche 2, then you roll 2 dice.
Yeah. All right. So I'll roll my 2. Oh, I got a 6, baby.
All right.
No
so that's
problem.
a yes and.
Yes.
So that would be an experience point.
Ooh. Boom, baby.
So what's your end? Yes, you get in the boat, you're holding it together, you're fine.
Yeah. I'll just say that, in the rush of things, one of the let's just say the captain is coming in a little too hastily and he slips and he's about to fall out and I grab him and I hoist him in and I say, "Well, we're gonna need you, sir," and then he holds him in or whatever and kind of gets him a pat on the back and stuff like that. So
all right, and they send your lifeboat off into the water. They're like, the lighthouse is that way. Just go that way. You're not going to make the mainland. It's too far because you're coming around the where the lighthouse is.
mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you'd be coming through where Folly's Point is, and it's rocks and shit, and you're close to the shore. So you go around the light. So the closest place is the lighthouse.
Yeah, which I'm sure is fine.
Probably nothing bad ever would happen that way.
Nothing's ever happened to a lighthouse.
So when you said
bad.
the light went out, that means the lighthouse light went out, right?
The lighthouse light went out. Yeah. As you guys sort of start to head in that direction. I guess probably each grabbing an oar, right? Because they're probably fairly big rowboats.
Yeah, some have had 2 and some have 4, but I don't know. What? It's a ferry, right?
Yeah, I get it's more than a ferry because it also runs cargo as well, back and forth. So it's bigger than a ferry, but it's not like, a big ship.
Yeah, I would say the lifeboats are probably pretty big because they're expecting more people. You expect for safety to have more stuff for people just in case.
If it's a passenger ferry, right? Yeah, you're going to have some on there.
Yeah,
to get the crew and the passengers.
Yeah,
right. And since it was the last ship of the evening, there weren't very many people on the boat.
Yeah. Fortunately, I would definitely grab one because I definitely know how to use an oar. So I'm guessing Arthur might not, but
so from past experience, right? So not the metagame. He's got his might's not very good, but let's say, he's holding it together and, you hear him mumbling to himself, Lake Erie and got to grab an oar, got to get to shore, Lake Erie, got to grab an oar and get to shore. And, I'll just roll might real quick. And while he's doing that, Christ, he rolls a 4 and a 1. So while everybody's, Johnny's doing it kind of in rhythm with maybe some of the crew members.
No, it's just the 2 of you.
Oh, it's just me. Okay.
Oh, they just pushed us too.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay. Well, then I didn't save the captain. So
you got your experience point.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So Arthur will try to keep in rhythm with the oar that Johnny's doing, and he's just kind of like a beat off, whenever the oar goes in and pulls back. He's not too far out of sync, but he's pretty close. So.
Yeah. Can I say for my and that I actually am really good at giving Arthur direction to kind of help us get to where we need to go.
And you're also a Fed, so you've got that.
Yeah. I use my Fed voice to inspire him.
Well, so let's say this then. You use your Fed voice to like calm him down. It's like he's muttering to himself and like trying to lock the oar into the thing. And you're like, calm down, just relax. We're gonna go that way. I need you to pull when I say pull.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, sir, please calm down, sir. First thing, do grab the oar. Maybe nice strokes. You see what I'm doing here? Nice strokes. Together now. If we have to go to the left, we have to both do that. Whatever. I don't know how to paddle a boat, so I would just say whatever. So.
All right, so that it splashes down into the water. All this is happening. You get an oar. You guys both start rowing. You can see off in the distance, just like the little light, that's probably on the cottage, on the island there where the light keepers stay. And you start moving in that direction. So why don't you? Let me. Fuck! I have to find that. I have to find that chart for the difficulty. So give me 1 minute to find that. Sample creatures. I don't want that.
So while Arthur's rowing, he looks at Johnny, and you can see Johnny, like his breathing in and out is in rhythm with the strokes of the oar, and Arthur's is the complete opposite. So he's doing it wrong. He's breathing out when he should be breathing in, and while the oar goes in the water.
Arthur sounds like he's like having a baby. I'm calm.
He's doing Lamaze, right? Yeah, but he's holding it together, so we're all right so far.
All right, so I want you guys to each give me a difficulty 3 challenging. If you have athletics, you could add athletics. If not, just give me a might check. Or if you have some other skill that might be appropriate, athletics is.
I'm guessing Arthur's doing really well. Oh, I got a 6, baby.
Arthur rolled 2 1s, and I know that doesn't mean anything, but he's gonna start hyperventilating in a minute because his breath's all out of whack.
So you got a no but. So let's think about that for a minute. So Kurt, you got a yes and. So yes and me there.
So you're gonna make me do the and first.
Yeah, I mean they sort of happen together. So.
No, it's okay. Like if you want me to do, I have 2 scenarios. So if you want me to go first, I will go first.
Well, let's see. So he got a no but. So he's not helping.
Yeah.
right? So what you say that he is not successfully helping you row.
The lifeboat's actually like swinging back towards the ferry and not towards the land because we're going in a circle. And
So I would say, and Johnny takes over and just does both oars at the same time, if he can. If it's a smaller one and he can't do it, fine. Then I'll think of something else. But if it's small enough to where I can grab both of them and just do it, even though it may take me a little bit longer, I would do it.
Okay, let's say that. Let's say it's not like a huge, it's not like a whaling, rowboat or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's small enough that you could get it, but it's a pain, right? Like it's probably easier to do it with two people if you had somebody that was actually helping you.
Yeah.
So you just kind of like push them out of the way and start rowing in.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And
like,
even though Johnny's is kind of a grumpy guy or whatever, he's been somewhat positive, not positive, but a little more like sure that they're going to be fine. But when this stuff kind of happens, he's like, God damn it, Arthur. He's saying it to himself as he's paddling those two to where they'll get to. So.
All right. So as you get closer towards the island, you can see that it's coming up. You can maybe see it looks like there's a pier on this side of the island. The boat hit something hard in the dark water. The waves are churning. It's splashing into the boat. You can give me a awareness.
Both of us?
Yeah, both of these. DL. So it's dark. You don't have a light on your
So that's
thing.
That's a brains roll, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Give me a DL 4.
4.
Five.
I really like watching Kevin get so mad at his dice.
I gotta go steal my daughter's dice. Those dice are pretty bad.
I got a 5 also.
Okay, so you guys both nailed it. You exceeded by 1, so it's a yes. Nailed it precisely. You can see that the boat is sort of run up on a hunk of metal. If you want to give me a straight brains roll. Oh, again, DL, make it a 2.
I got a 3. So
Got a 5.
there's some metal down there. I yelled at Johnny, and Johnny understands what the
Arthur
is.
C. Metal.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not pointing.
So we'll give Johnny. So he's got the yes, and it probably is a ship. Neither one of you has heard anything. There hasn't been anything in the paper about, any sort of a tragedy, any sort of a ship going down. But, what else would be 30 yards from shore?
So can we see this ship out here, or is it underwater?
It's underwater mostly. Like you're hitting, maybe part of the boiler stack or, something to that effect. It doesn't, there's nothing identifying, you just see some metal.
Yeah.
There doesn't look like there's a lot of barnacles or anything on it. So it's probably, went down, not that long ago. But again, you haven't seen anything, in the news. It's like, oh, yeah, that might be that ship.
God, Johnny says, God, I really wish I had a marine biologist around to help me out.
So the lighthouse light went out while we were going forward, right? So it's not like it was out before we set sail. We saw the light go out.
Yep. They were navigating. You were coming up around Beacon Island, and it went out.
So I'll look over to Johnny. Arthur will look over to Johnny and say, we got to have a talk with George. If he's working at the lighthouse, it seems like they've been having some issues with keeping that light on. If the if our experience in this boat underneath us, if both of these had troubles and the lights went out, I'm guessing he's not too good of a job of keeping that candle lit.
And Johnny kind of looks at Arthur, and what was Arthur's buddy's name? George. Oh, it was George. Yeah. Sorry, you just said it. Jesus. Sorry, I thought we were talking about the captain for some reason. Yeah, he looks at you and says, he says, it's a weird coincidence that these boats that us stranded out here in this boat, and your buddy George saying that he's got some stuff for you. That seems very fishy.
So Arthur will look over and say, I guess if maritime crimes versus crimes on the land, I guess if this idiot hasn't done really good with keeping everything going, I guess you'll have a choice of which penal code to bring him up on charges with, and he'll kind of shake his head, looking down, trying to push away from this this boiler stack that's bumping up against the lifeboat.
Yeah, he looks at Arthur, and Johnny looks at Arthur, and he says, if I were you, if I were to see this buddy of yours, George, next time I'd see him, I'd give him a little piece of my mind for putting your life on the line.
So Arthur kind of gets pulled back into the situation. The adrenaline's been pumping through him, and all of a sudden Arthur takes a minute after Johnny says that and remembers his past ordeals with being out in the water in a crappy boat, and starts mumbling to himself about getting a hold of George and strangling him, and better hope it's worth it, or I don't mind sending him up to Sing Sing. I'll be on the stand going against him, mumbling under his breath while they're hopefully getting a bit closer to shore.
Well, as you're having that sort of like internal monologue, lightning flashes and the thunder cracks, and you can see, the boat, your rowboat is sort of floundering as it's sort of stuck on this thing. The waves are coming in and it's threatening to roll. And I want you guys to give me athletics or might checks again to dislodge it and make it that last.
Okay.
30 yards or so.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to ask if that was something we could actually get done.
5
also.
All right. You guys got it. So you are able, you wait, you sort of time it to the waves. The wave sort of comes up and you sort of push back, and then it slides you back the other way, and you're able to make it, last, 30 yards or so to shore. Kind of wet, bedraggled, maybe a little antsy about what's going on. You come up to the dock or a little pier that's there. You can see there's a trail that sort of leads off. You can see the light from the cottage. And as you sort of begin your way down the path, it starts to drizzle at first, but another, crack of thunder, lightning, as the storm starts to pick up.
So Arthur, if we're trying to find a path,
it's easy to. There's a narrow dirt path.
Okay.
That leads towards the cottage. There's sort of high grass and stuff. Like nobody's out here mowing, right? Like it's kind of wild.
So Arthur will kind of pat himself down, make sure he's got everything. He checks his right hand pocket, make sure his jeweler's loop is there. He pats his left hand pocket, but doesn't put his hand in his pocket. And looks over to Johnny, and now that Arthur's on land and safe now, he'll look over and say, let's go find George. Let's get this over with. I'm sure you have some things you want to say to him. And after the past, 20 minutes or so, I've got some more things I want to say to George over and above, why he asked me to come up here. So let's get this sorted so we can sort him out.
I'm going to go open up the blinds for my cat. Hold
on. So I'm going to say that, Johnny basically just kind of puts his hand out like after you kind of thing.
Yeah, so the further Arthur can get away from the water, the better. So he starts fast marching up the path through all the sawgrass and overgrown stuff, whatever narrow path there is. And he starts marching up to the cottage.
All right, cool. As you guys get closer, go ahead and give me an awareness check. I'm sorry, I should give you a deal, right?
Nice.
I mean, it's I don't know. Probably, I probably should have wrote some of these down. That's the problem with doing it on the fly, I guess.
That's okay.
We'll make the wins come back. We'll call it a 3. Everything's a 3.
Okay.
Two sixes.
You got a 6. I got a 4.
All right, cool. All right, so you both get an XP for that. As you're coming up closer to the cottage, you can hear the thrum of what's probably an electrical generator. It sounds like it's coming, from the back of the buildings. Like there's the cottage, and you see the lighthouse coming up off the back of the cottage. So it's probably somewhere out back.
So it's kind of the base of it, and then right behind it is the lighthouse going up behind it.
Yeah, let me. I can show you a picture. Well, I don't. In theory, I can show you.
It will be dark.
I googled the scenario name and I clicked on the pictures. I didn't click on any kind of PDFs or anything, just the pictures. So
okay, well, I'll show you this. I mean, if it works, it'll give you a layout for the island. Let me see. Share screen. Windows. There we go. All right. So, I should have hooked up a mouse to the
it worked.
computer here.
Cool.
Oh,
that's what I was looking at too. I promise, John. I wasn't looking at the PDFs, just the images.
So even if you read the scenario, I trust you guys to play it. Sure, it doesn't.
Yeah, it would be kind of dumb if we read it and knew everything going in, right? It would ruin the whole night. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, we play enough games that
player character knowledge, that kind of thing.
Oh shit! Now it's not working.
It was a second ago.
Let me remove. Hold on, let me stop screen. Let me reshare it. Let's see. Share screen. Windows. Why is it not? It's not working. Why is it not working? I hate it. Nope. Fuck. That's the worst. All right. Well, I guess it's not going to work. I don't know why. Oh, maybe I got to. Oh, let's try it one more time and then we'll move on. When I resized it, nope. See, now it works. Okay. I don't understand. All right.
Don't touch anything. Just leave
it.
Just leave that up and touch it.
So you guys came in up here. Here's the little path.
Yep.
Here's the cottage. Here's the lighthouse. And then you hear the generator. It's back here somewhere. There's other.
So did we come from the north side or the south side of the island?
North side.
North side. Okay, gotcha.
Here. Yep.
Okay.
So you're coming up on the cottage. You can hear stuff back this way, which sounds like the generator, and then the lighthouse is right here.
From where I'm watching, I'm not seeing you highlight anything. So just so people watching it may.
Oh, it's just my mouse on my screen, right?
Yes.
So you're coming in from the top of the screen.
Yep, correct.
Moving south along that little path.
That's right.
The first building is the cottage.
Yep.
Adjacent, like right to the back of the cottage, that circular structure, obviously is the lighthouse. And then behind that, sort of like along the woods there, that's where you hear the generator coming from out in the back there.
Okay, sounds good.
If that means anything to you guys or not, or if you want to look at stuff or not look at stuff, you hear the thing.
Yeah.
If the generator's running, then I don't think we'd go back to the generator, right? And
I don't know. I'm a big generator fanatic, so I'm gonna go check out.
See what model it is.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's a T100. God, I love those. No, I think we'd probably go to the front door and see if
Yeah, go up
anybody's
to
there.
the cottage.
Yeah. I'm actually God, do I take point? No, I think because Arthur is looking for George, maybe I'll let George take point.
Yeah, and
Arthur, I mean.
I was marching away as quick as I could from the beach. So
Mhm.
I think we're heading straight for the cottage, and Arthur's kind of making a brisk pace up that path.
Yeah.
All right,
Are you
cool.
saying I can't keep up with you?
No, because my mouth and height, my health and might are not very good. So I'm sure
okay.
you can keep pace with me very easily.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I would let you lead just because I don't want to seem aggressive, especially since we're gonna go see George, and George might recognize me and not
might
necessarily
send off some shots out the window. So
yeah,
if he
exactly.
sees me first.
Exactly. I'm gonna say that he is actually wearing like a jacket, and I'm gonna say that he actually throws the hood over his head. So then maybe George can't quite make out his face right away when he sees him.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so you get up to the front door. The front door is slightly ajar. There's a steady,
I hate that.
Right? There's a steady glow can be seen from within. On either side of the door is a window. The curtains are drawn, but a warm, welcoming light shines through the one on the left.
So Arthur will push the door open. I mean, he'll go in.
No, I'm actually gonna stop Arthur before he does that.
Okay.
I want to investigate the door to see if anybody's broken into it.
So Arthur will kind of reach out the door, and he'll get ready to shout George's name, and then Johnny grabs his shoulder and pulls him back, and so Arthur kind of cuts off shouting right when he does that, and kind of looks back to Johnny.
All right, you're going to give me an investigate on the door. So why don't you give me a check at let's call it a 4.
Okay.
You're looking to see specifically if somebody lock picked it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna see if somebody
did it, that kind of thing.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. So I just wanted to see what I had. And here's nothing. I got a 6, baby.
All right. So you got a yes and.
Okay.
It doesn't look like, wow, you guys are like killing experience, right? So it doesn't appear that, there's no scratches on the brass plate. There's no like chips out of the door. It looks like someone walked out and didn't close the door.
Okay.
So perhaps George is outside, but what I'll give you with your end is that you can see just out front of the door, onto the path there. There are small, muddy animal-like footprints. And beneath those are boot prints. So they're partially obscured by the animal tracks over top.
Okay. So I point that out to Arthur. I say, Arthur, before we go in, look at this.
And these are tracks leading away from the front door, right? Out.
They're there, and they're down the path along with the boots. It's starting, the rain is picking up, it's sort of muddy. If you want to follow them, you probably want to do it now than late. Like if you want to investigate, it's going to rain and it may wash them out. Now it may just be, the guys on the path, and there was a duck or a seagull or something. But it's if you want to, let's see, you don't have the biologist. So you want to give me like I guess a brains roll. I guess just a straight brains roll on give me a DL4.
Stupid fall. 5. So Arthur will kind of look at the tracks, and kind of look up at the the sky with the rain coming down and see that Johnny's pulled up his hood over, or his jacket up over his head, and just say, I don't know if you want to go investigate where these tracks go, or if you want to go into the cottage. It looks like it's going to start dumping down on us in a minute.
While you're thinking, Kurt, I'm going to tell you, the footprints look weird. It does kind of look like a duck, maybe like a seagull, but they don't. I mean, for as much as you know about ducks or seagulls, but they look weird.
So Arthur will probably think that it's just, it's just okay. So there's been a track in the mud or whatever, and then the rains come down and kind of made it go a bit strange. So, Arthur will look to Johnny and say, it looks like George may be chasing away those seagulls or those ducks around here. The print looks a bit weird, but that just might be the rain, making the print go a bit squirrely in the mud. But it does look like there are some animal tracks and some actual boot tracks going down the path. But yeah, so it looks like it's gonna rain a bit more. So do we go and look in the cottage, or do you want to go run down the path a bit more? You seem to be a bit more prepared, and Arthur touches his head where all the water's running off of it.
Yeah.
Or Johnny's got his, the jacket up over his head.
Yeah. We'll say that Johnny quickly takes out his pad of paper and his pencil, and he kind of draws like a little artist rendering of like where those tracks might be going, and then puts it back in his pocket, and he says, let's go inside for now.
All right.
And Arthur kind of goes over to the door and kind of pushes it open and does the after you move to to Johnny.
Nice. All right. I am going to share the cabin with you guys. Or not, because it doesn't look like it wants to. All right, hold on.
Roll for picture showing.
Yeah, right.
You roll the 2.
Let me roll at a DL7.
Yeah, exactly. No, but we're having fun, right?
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm not gonna touch anything.
Yeah.
Ignore the blood. That's not there. I mean, I don't
ignore the blood.
You spilled some coffee on your
numero
PDF.
uno, I'm guessing, because that's where the door is.
So since I'm sharing my screen, can you see my little hand?
I can see your hand.
Now we can. Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
Your tiny little hand.
Yeah. All right. So you guys are coming through the front door here. So you can see that there's doors, up and down the hallway. It looks like there's a handful, 4, 5 maybe. The lighthouse door, the door leading up into the lighthouse stairs is kind of at the end of the hallway.
So the cottage, to get into the lighthouse, you go straight down that hallway into the
correct
where those steps are at 12. Okay, gotcha.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. The hallway is not lit. The light from the study, which is the room over here, number 4, that light is on. As soon as you walk in, you can see that there are 3 coat hooks by the door, only one of which has a well-worn oilskin hanging from it. 2 pairs of galoshes stand on a shallow tray just beneath the coat hooks. There's space for another pair, while a pair of indoor shoes sit besides the tray. 2 oil lanterns hang from hooks next to the oilskin. There's also an empty hook suggesting one of the lamps is missing.
So how much light did you say was in here now? So we can
hall
see.
light is out. These other side rooms are out except for the hallway. So if you you can flip the light on in the hallway if you want to.
Okay, so I was just going to say if there's a way to get some more light, I was going to grab the oil lantern, but if there's a way to turn on, get a bit more light, then I'll go over and try to flip that on.
It's 1920, right? They got electricity.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Like, I fucking remember. Yeah. So you flip the switch. You know, you hear like the whole freaking bulb comes on.
Every time you flip a switch, you've got to roll, 50-50 to see if you shock yourself.
So my lights are flashing too. See, fuck, it's the ghost, I guess.
Your lights have been flashing the whole time, and I didn't want to say anything. They just keep going.
They did it on Monday night too.
Yeah, they're like lower and higher and lower and higher. I'm like, Cthulhu is in your house. Good.
Yeah. All right. So it's
100. It's because it's 130 degrees out there. So
yeah. All right.
So you said, I'm going to walk. Arthur's going to walk down the hallway, and he's going to go off to that. The kind of. So if he's walking down the hallway, it would be on his left, but on this thing, it'll be on the right. So he's going to go kind of like peek in the door to see if there's anything in there.
Okay, so you're going to go over here to number 4.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, yep. Cool. All right, so you go into that room. Let me find it on here. That would be the study. Is anybody looking at anything else in the hallway? Like I said, you have coats that are missing, boots that are missing. So it's Call of Cthulhu, right? So like I could ask for rolls, which is what I've been doing. So I can ask if you guys want to make an awareness check in the hallway, may get you some information. Again, this is less of a core, driven scenario because it's a pre-published Call of Cthulhu scenario.
So Arthur was looking to go grab the oil lamp. So that stuff that's hanging there, he would have checked that stuff out. So it makes sense if you want to make an awareness check because he was saying, okay, if I can't find any lights, I'm going to grab that oil lamp. So he'll look for the boots and everything that are there. So having an awareness check kind of makes sense because he's kind of looking before he flipped the switch. He was checking all that stuff out.
All right. So give me a DL4.
5.
All right. So that's a yes. You can see near the door in the floor, 2 bullets lodged in the floor. If you want to give me either one, I assume you share the information.
Yeah. So when Arthur starts walking down the hallway, he was going to go start walking to that room on the right hand side of the exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll flip the switch and he'll start marching down. But then when he looks back, he'll see those 2 kind of bullets and he'll kind of stop and look over to Johnny and say, "Hey Johnny, can you check this out?" And kind of point to you said it's in the floor, right? So he'll point to the floor where the two bullets are.
So if you guys want to give me let's make it a brains roll. If the FBI guys got firearms, if you want to add your firearms to that.
Firearms is under grace for me.
I know, but you're trying to calculate something. Actually, okay. I think Arthur has firearms too, so you can go ahead and add your firearms.
Okay, sounds good.
Why does this antique dealer have firearms? I don't know.
He was
He's got an old Smith & Wesson.
4.
That will be a 6 for me.
All right. I guess I didn't make a... Yes, we'll make it a 3. So you both succeed. Kurt, you get the yes. And so it appears that the bullets were fired from someone positioned a couple of steps up the lighthouse stairwell. So like down the hallway at the front door.
Wow, that's a long ways away.
There's actually, I could tell you how long the building is. So the hallway is, let me lean in real close so everybody can see my big fucking head. 16, so it's about 23 feet.
Oh, so from the front door of the lighthouse back to the front door of the cottage.
Yeah, okay, 20-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as Johnny's looking at this, he actually pulls out his gun and kind of looks towards the lighthouse, and he says to Arthur, someone's been shot from the lighthouse entrance. He says,
So there's no blood there. There's just the bullets in the floor.
Or, well, someone's been shot at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to proceed with caution, he says. Do you have anything to arm yourself with?
When Arthur sees Johnny pull out his gun, he's gonna reach into his left-hand pocket and he's gonna pull out a gun. I'm gonna try to do this on here. He's gonna pull out a gun, and you see him have, it's a really small kind of fits in the palm of his hand gun, and it has kind of filigree on the side. It's a really little one. And
what is that? A Derringer?
Well, no, I think it's called a Colibri. So it's called a hummingbird in German. And he'll pull it out and he'll say to Johnny, I've got this in a sale, so I figured I would keep it with me because it's a bit valuable. I wasn't bringing it for this. It was a sale I made before I came up, so I got to keep myself covered. And he just pulls it out, and it's really small. It fits in the palm of his hand. It's 2 millimeters, so I don't know how much damage it'll do, but he'll have that in his hand.
Is there something I can roll to see if I actually believe him?
So I guess if he again wants to make a charm plus fast talk, and then if you want to make a what do we call it? A brains.
Or I can do investigation, insight.
Oh, insight, perfect. Yep,
yeah.
Insight. Yep.
Okay.
4.
That's a 5 for me.
All right. So Kevin, are you telling the truth? So the insight succeeds. So he is able to intuit whether or not you're telling the truth.
So while I'm holding it, so I'll just, so you can see what it looks like. There you go. So while I'm holding it, I'll say, I'll kind of shrug and say, well, it was part of a sale I was working on, but it's better to be safe and sorry. So obviously this is part of his new business where he's selling it, but he's coming out, Arthur's coming out into the, middle of nowhere to meet his old, running buddy. So it would probably be good to be armed. So maybe Johnny realizes that, Arthur was packing because of the situation, not just because he made a deal 5 minutes before he got on.
Yeah. Johnny definitely on the boat was seeing Arthur nervously put his hand towards his other pocket, but not go in it. So he kind of figured something was up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So then he says, do you know how to use this correctly?
So Arthur will say, if you keep that notebook in your pocket, yes, I can use it. If you pull the notebook out, no, I can't. They kind of look at him knowingly.
He kind of looks at you with like a really serious face, and he says, I'm not worried about the law right now. I'm just worried about our health, yours and mine.
Don't worry. I've got myself covered, and I'll keep an eye out for you. And, Arthur will be really serious when he says that.
Okay. So
like because we play so many freaking games, I think like in an alien sense, right? Like this would be a stress situation, right? Like you find bullet holes in the floor, you haven't seen anybody, one of the oil skins is missing, but boots are missing. So I think I want you guys to give me a difficulty 3 psyche check just to see how you guys are making out.
Okay.
It's just a straight psyche.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything that you could add to that.
I've got insight streetwise, but I don't know. I think we're just trying to keep it together, kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
I don't feel like any of those would really
Yeah.
go towards.
I mean, I would almost maybe say streetwise, just in a sense that like you were a criminal, so like maybe this.
And I think Arthur's kind of worried about his buddy, right? So he
Right,
knows
so maybe,
George.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, so maybe straight. I was just thinking like in a different situation, like, yeah, okay, well, you know, I've had people shoot at me before, or, you know, I've been in a tight spot where, you know, I've had to pull out a gun before because something went bad. But if you're more like, oh, you know, my buddy, yeah, just a straight psyche.
I think it would be just a straight psyche because he's not thinking about, you know, this isn't a job for him, right? He's not on.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a job that he's going to do. He's just like, this idiot called me up to check on something and something weird's going on. So now I'm worried about George, but secondarily, I'm worried about George and how I'm going to get, you know, stuck in with whatever George was up to. So yeah, that makes sense. Just a straight one. Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely roll my streetwise then because I've seen some things.
You've been in the shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
5.
All right, you're good.
6 + 1, that's a 7.
Nice. Oh, you guys are crushing it. So yes, and so yes, you know, you guys are holding it together, and like you know, you've steeled yourself for the worst, right? Like, I don't know. You guys have another end, maybe. Like, I mean, Kurt, you got a 7, right? Like you're.
Yeah. Well, let's just say that even though I don't know for sure, I just assume that something's happened to George, and now we have to figure out what the hell's happened to him.
Right. Cool.
And I look at Arthur knowingly, and I say, you know something's happened, right?
And then goes the thunder crashes.
Lightning goes and everybody gets lit up by the lightning. Yeah, I would assume if he was expecting me to come up and he's not here, waiting for me, he seemed pretty excited and anxious for me to come up and see him. If he's not here to meet me, then yeah, I'm guessing something went on. And just out of, you know, from a system standpoint, just so everybody, because I have to remind myself. So we've got our base, which is the dice pool. And if we've got a +1 or whatever, whether it's insight or streetwise or whatever, that's adding it onto your roll. That's not adding another dice.
Correct.
So every time we've played before, I just want to make, because when you see a +1, you're like, okay, do I add another dice or do I add that to the score? So if you have awareness or firearms and it's a +1, that's just adding that number onto your best roll. That's not adding another dice. Yeah. So
we can pause real quick. So in the system, you've got 6 main stats, you know, similar to a lot of systems. You've got brains, charm, grace, health, might, and psyche. Your base, so your stats inform your dice pool for that.
Yeah.
So if you have a brains of 2, that means you have 2d6 that you're going to make to do whatever the brains roll would be. If you're going to do a brains and you have you're trying to make an awareness check and you have an awareness at +1 or +2, you'd roll those 2 dice that you have in your brains stat pool and then take the highest die result and then add that, you know, +1 or +2 or whatever your skill additive is.
Cool.
And what that is so like when, you know, especially if you're playing, you know, campaigns or whatever, to succeed at a higher difficulty, having more dice doesn't really help in a sense, because you can only ever roll a 6 as high as you're going to get. So if you have to make, say, you know, a psyche check that's a 7, you know, if you see some, you know, horrible, you know, you see Cthulhu, or you know, which would be more than that, but you know, you see some horribly terrible thing, and you've, you know, got to roll a 7 or more. If you don't have a skill that's going to help you with that, you just automatically fail. Now you could roll the max, you could get a 6. So if it's a 7 and you roll a 6, it's a yes, a no, but. So you could, you know, weasel something positive out of it. But where you really start to hit those higher and higher DLs is by having skills, and then putting points into getting those skills higher, because it's going to allow you to hit those higher DLs.
Cool.
Yep. You can increase your stats over the course of the game. There's progressive character generation. So, especially like when you start a game, you don't like, you may have a concept for a character and like, oh, I'm going to play, the antiques dealer who was a criminal and whatever. And, you sort of set up your character that way. But until you really start to get your feet under you and start to play, maybe you discover things about the characters, as we all do when we start to play, that, you hadn't planned for. So with the progressive character generation, whether you either save some of your character points, your initial XP, you could then, during the course of the game, have a flashback scene where you're like, oh, and, I was a Boy Scout as a kid, and I know how to tie like the best knots, and you now you've got knot tying or rope skills or whatever it is. So you can change your character as they do over the course of the game, with some of those mechanics. So we'll jump back into it because Kurt's back.
I'm glad you took that time out, because I was like, yes, now I can take a restroom break. Sweet.
All right.
So yeah.
So you guys are holding it together. Everything's cool. It's not cool because fuck knows where George is, but yeah, you're holding it together.
Okay. So I would tell Arthur, I would say let's make our way towards the lighthouse. I feel like that's where we need to be.
Arthur will look kind of back towards the door and see. I'm assuming it's raining a bit more now, and say, "Yeah, I think I'd rather stay inside. Let's go. Let's go figure out why the light went out. That caused this, the stupid boat to go down and us to be here anyway. So let's go check the lighthouse."
All right. So as you guys continue down the hallway, like I said, the lights are out in the other rooms except for that study off on your left when you walk in. As you get towards the door for the lighthouse, you can see off to your left, right on the screen here, there's spattered blood that leads from that room there on your left up to the stairs, up towards the stairs. So you guys are gonna give me another sanity check. Again, we'll keep it at 3, I guess.
And that's on Psyche, right?
Correct.
Yeah. 2.
Oh, that's a fail. It's a no but.
How do I play this?
I know, but you are going to make a roll on the shock table, though.
Okay. Do I have? I think I still have the shock table up. Give me 1 second.
What do you got, Kurt? I see you smirking.
Another 6. I'm rolling
okay.
fucking lights out right now.
You're like, guy's fucking dead. Who cares already?
Yeah, exactly. See that?
Okay, so I got a 5. So, Arthur kind of.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say Arthur kind of sees the blood. So the no but's separate than the shock table, right?
It is. It's So the action resolution table is different from shock. The shock table is germane to the COREthulhu setting.
So what would be the but? So I failed. Crap, I'm trying to think.
I'm wondering if so as a playtest, I'm wondering whether or not on the psyche rolls that narrative part is less relevant. Like maybe that's just a straight roll, because if you fail, you're going to roll on the shock table. Right? Yeah, so okay. like that's the consequence of the failure.
Okay, so I don't need a but. I'll just go straight into the shock table then.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. We'll have to play with that, because it's the first time we're actually doing it. So
yeah, because I'm trying to think what the but would be on that. So I guess Arthur kind of sees the blood, and he kind of freezes in place. So on the shock table, it's paralysis, frozen in place for 5. and he just kind of starts mumbling to himself, George, what did you get yourself into now? He says that a couple times, but he's kind of just frozen, kind of looking down, at the blood on the floor.
Are you saying it loud, or are you saying it like
loud enough for you to hear? But he's saying it to himself. He just says, George, what did you get yourself into?
Okay.
If he's kind of shocked by this, I don't think he'd be able to, moderate the tone of his voice, right? He's just like, holy shit, what's that? And he's worried about his friend. So I don't think he doesn't really care that there's a cop next to him when he says that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I know what Johnny's thinking is that if you're saying this too loud, he would cover your mouth like right away, like shut up. It's like
I see what you mean. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do that then, because he wouldn't be not that he's lost all his faculties, right? But he's kind of worried about his friend now that he sees that, and he'll just kind of blurt it out. And then I guess if Johnny's thinking from a cop standpoint, there's some shit going down.
Yeah, you don't want to give away your position. Exactly.
So that makes sense. Yeah, that's really
so he covers your mouth, and he's just like,
good. I like that. That works good.
So we're not in, again, so since we're playtesting, we're not in frames. So like if we were in combat and you roll on the shock table, your paralysis would go from frame to frame to frame, and you would have to do something else, as an action to break out of that. Now, since we're not in action frames, I'm not really sure, and I'll have to work on how that plays itself out.
So if we were in like a gunfight right now and someone was hiding behind the door shooting at us and I froze, then that makes sense that I would have to do some other action to get out of it. But if we're not in combat, just narratively, I would think that if I was frozen and I shouted out, and then Johnny came over and said, don't let anyone else know we're here.
Yeah,
something's happened. Exactly. So I think that would be the trigger for me to then break out of that paralysis, right? If he comes over and puts his hand over my mouth and talks to me, that makes sense as being the trigger to go on to the next thing. As you said, if it was in combat, then it would be, okay, I've got to do something to break out of it. But I think Johnny would be the one to break Arthur out of that, since it's not like a combat situation.
I'll buy that. Yeah. He comes in and it's like, shut the fuck up. Kind of like pulls you away.
Don't give us up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what we're going to say is you both see it. There's coins on the floor. And I'm going to say, Johnny, with your yes end, you not only see the coin, but you're pretty sure it's solid gold, and they're, bigger coins. It's not like a quarter size piece. They're bigger and thicker than that.
Okay. So immediately he will pick one up and study it to see if there's like any markings or any, like, is there blood on it?
The scenario doesn't say. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
But what I want you to do, so on one side of the coin appears to be an obelisk of some sort. The other is covered in strange sigils and disturbing designs. So why don't you give me that occult roll that you have?
Sweet. I like that, because that's exactly what I was going to ask.
You got an occult roll. Oh. How did I realize that guy had a cult? Oh.
Because you're not playing them, sucker. All right, so let's see. Let's roll.
Let me give you a deal again.
Yes.
We'll call it difficult.
Okay.
We're trying not to make anything super hard.
So 4?
Correct. That would be a 4.
All right. See what happens. That would be a 5.
All right. So that's a yes. Because you nailed it. So a yes is you succeed by 1. So you got a yes. You're maybe sort of familiar with this. You believe that the sigils hold a deeper meaning, but they look like something that came out of the South Seas, some of those remote religious tribes. Like you picked it up in like an FBI brief somewhere or something, or you were, reading some weird book or whatever. So it's similar to those used by a remote religious tribe in the South Seas.
Okay. So
you've seen some weird stuff before.
Yeah, exactly. So I show Arthur both sides of the coin and I say, well, looks like your buddy George has been involved in a little more than just antique collectibles.
So if he shows me the coin, you said there's like some more coins around. It's not just one, right?
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them laying on the floor there. They all look the same.
Okay. So Johnny's going to show Arthur one, the one he has, and Arthur's going to pick up another one from the ground. I'm assuming it's kind of the same thing on both sides, and he's going to pull out his jeweler's loop and kind of look at it. It's really nothing to. Kurt got the good one on that roll. There's nothing more I can add to it. So
if you want to give me just a straight brains, because you've got your jeweler's loop, I'll even give you. I'll give you an extra die.
Okay. And that is a 5.
All right. So when you pull out your loop and you're taking a look at some of the smaller, like it's not really filigree, but the smaller engravings on it. It looks like it has an aquatic theme to the designs.
So I'll look over to Johnny and say, so you said, did you say out what John said? So it was, South Seas, religious kind of thing.
I'm going to say that he hasn't at this point.
Okay, he hasn't. So Arthur will look over and say, it looks like there's some kind of nautical water theme on some of this writing on here on these coins, and I guess Arthur would be able to tell that they were gold, right? Solid the gold, so he'll do the old kind of bite on it. If there's no blood on the coin, he'll kind of bite on it and say solid gold, and it looks like it's has some kind of water themes on some of the writing on it.
Yeah. So then at that point, Johnny will be like, yeah, I saw that too. And then he'll share the information that he actually knows.
Okay. And Arthur will say, yeah, I don't know what he's got into. This doesn't seem like it's cleaning out, some boxes in your grandmother's attic that, that stuff laying around. This seems to be a bit heavier than that.
Yeah. And he kind of points to the blood and he's kind of like, yeah, I'm sure whatever it is got somebody messed up. So as far as the blood goes, is it all in a pool? Is it splattered? How is the blood actually focused around in the room?
So someone shot and walked away, or someone shot and got dragged away. I guess.
Yeah.
Right,
So
what you're asking.
It's as it is in the map. So the blood pool is in the kitchen. Let me scroll to kitchen. Nope, that's not it. Hold on, study. Where the hell is it? Nope, that's outside. What the hell? I just saw it a minute ago. The study, the hallway. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. I'll have to scroll through a bunch of handouts. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Small chairs on the floor. Yeah, it's right near the door. The side door. So let me get on that screen so you can see my little fingies.
Mm-hmm.
So the blood is here, right? At this door. The coins are in the hall. This door here is open and kind of banging as the wind is sort of blowing in. The rain's blowing into this looks like a kitchen area here as you sort of push the door open the rest of the way. You can see there's a wood stove. You see the sink. There's some dirty dishes.
So Arthur will go and kind of see where that door is banging and say to Johnny, we going out to look out there, or are we going back up into the lighthouse?
He tells Arthur, he says, why don't you stay here and keep an eye on the door? coming into the kitchen while I just look outside and see if there's anything I can see.
Okay, so you're going to pop out that door, go into the outside, and you want me to stay by the kitchen door, you're saying? Back
Yes.
into the hallway. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Just in case someone decides to come in through that other door.
Kurt split the party.
Yep.
Well, only
Not
sort of.
really.
You guys can
I'm
still
just
see
I'm just
each
walking
other.
I'm just walking out a little bit. I'm
So
not
I'll
I'm not
have-
going doo. I'm out of here. See ya.
So yeah, so Arthur will be he'll kind of be standing in the doorway into the kitchen, right? So he'll open so he can keep an eye on the hallway up to the lighthouse. You know, he's not standing in where the blood is, but he's kind of around that area, and he'll keep an eye on the hallway, and he'll keep an eye kind of on the door where Johnny's going out to look outside. He kind of splitting his view back, moving his head back and forth.
Now, near that pool of blood, there's a broken chair on the floor there. There's still heat coming from the wood burning stove. It's not cold in here. There's a kettle on the stove. Yeah. So to give you the whole picture there.
Cool. Arthur's not going to go over and worry about putting on some coffee or tea or anything. He's he's a bit worried about George at the moment, and he wants to keep an eye on Johnny because Johnny seems like he has some attributes, so he's helping out too. So it's always good to have a cop with you. So he's going to keep an eye on the hallway and on the door where Johnny's going.
All right. So Kurt, you stick your head, or not Kurt, I'm sorry, Johnny sticks his head out the door, kind of steps out into the night. The light is coming from behind you. I'm assuming you guys flipped on the light. You saw the blood and you're investigating the kitchen. So it sort of, it's just weird sort of transitional where the light ends and then the lightning is flashing and the tall grass is kind of whipping around. Why don't you go ahead and give me an awareness roll? Give me a DL. We'll keep it at a 4.
Okay. That's a 6 total.
So 6. So yes, and so you are looking for a few minutes, 30 seconds or whatever. You're standing in the rain. You put your hand up to shield your eyes. Is that a person? You look again. You're like, no, maybe not. I don't know. You thought you saw something was there.
Okay. I think Johnny is going to try to sneak up and investigate.
All right. Let me pull up the other map.
So Johnny's heading out the door then, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Are you going to head left? So let me go back to the screen. Oh, damn it. So are you going to go left this way, back the way that you came, or right this way towards back where like the generators and stuff are?
Where did we think that the body was? Where did I think that I saw this body?
I'm going to say just like out here, just like moving around out in the tall grass.
Okay.
Like directly-ish in front of you.
Okay.
It goes into like wood, like there's tall grass and then like there's woods.
Okay. I'm gonna say that I kind of head towards the left side.
So back this way, the way you came.
Yeah. Yep. Just because, being an agent and stuff like that, going kind of the same way you've been, and you haven't really seen much of anything, is better than going towards something that you may not know where you're headed. So he goes where it's familiar.
All right. Do you say anything to Arthur, or do you just like see that and then sort of like stealth off into the night?
I should, I don't bother that because I don't want to, if this person that I think I see hasn't seen me yet, I don't want to try to alert them.
All right. So I want you to give me a stealth check. Let's call it. See, I keep using 4 because 4 is difficult.
That is hard though.
Well, hard would be 5. I know you.
Shut up.
Yeah,
You know what I meant.
I know. Yeah, give me a stealth check at a 4.
Okay. So is that Grace?
It would be Grace, yes.
Okay. So Grace at a 4. That is a 4 exactly.
So yes, but all right. So yes, you sort of like stealth off into the darkness, but what would the butt be? Fuck.
The door slams closed behind him.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
So yeah, you know you're being all stealthy and shit, and then all of a sudden just you're like, bam, as the door fucking closes.
Nice.
Arthur, you turn, the door slams, and Johnny's not there.
So Arthur will kind of be wigged out a bit when he hears that. Obviously you hear the big bang, and then Johnny's gone. He's kind of torn now. He's trying to look back to, the hallway up to the lighthouse and where the door went. Okay, high or low? Low.
He goes and grabs all the other coins off the floor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, that's a given, right? So he'll I rolled low, so he's gonna just kind of shuffle over towards the door a bit and kind of like whisper shout Johnny's name, but he's still trying to keep an eye on the hallway up to the lighthouse. So he's not going over to the door and opening it yet.
So you're whispering to him, but the door's closed.
Well, he's kind of not like super shouting, but doing
through the
Johnny,
door, like
Johnny, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But his head's whipping back and forth, and he's trying to keep an eye on the hallway up to the lighthouse, and he's kind of getting closer and closer to the door. At the moment, he's kind of shifting over towards the door.
Mm-hmm.
In this frame, he's kind of going that way, but he's still keeping an eye on the hallway for the moment. And then we'll see what happens on the next one. But yeah, at the moment, that's what he's doing.
All right, Kurt, we'll switch back over to Johnny. The rain is pounding, the lightning is flashing or whatever. So you're, like creeping up, sort of staying along the side of the building, sort of looking out. Why don't you give me another awareness check?
Okay.
We'll keep it at 4.
Okay. Actually, that's brains, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. That's a 7 total.
You definitely see someone. So let me look. Go back to the map. You see someone like along the edge of the woods, but up like towards the front, like up towards the cottage, right? So like you're out the door, you're making your way up. So you're, cruising along here,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the woods are out here, and they're, you sort of see them shadowing maybe out up over here.
Okay. Are they faced towards me or are they faced a different direction?
It's hard to tell. So they're faced in the same direction, right? So like they're also moving up. But it's hard to tell whether or not they're looking at you, not looking at you. Like they're in the shadows, right? Like you got a yes and so like yes, and you see someone out there for sure. It's not like a trick of the light. There is someone outside.
Okay. So I this time I'm gonna stay low and I'm just gonna try I'm gonna sneakily try to get towards them a little quicker.
All right. So this one's gonna be this one will be hard. So DL5 for stealth.
Stealth, which is Grace again, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna keep asking just because I'm an idiot. That's 5.
So it's a no, yes, but.
Yes, but yeah.
So you make it, like I'm assuming you're, kind of breaking towards the trees to like maybe try to get behind them, but they see you. Like,
Okay.
you've been seeing, like, the figure stands all the way up and kind of turns.
Yep.
And you see it starting to move towards you.
Okay. So I'm gonna stick out my gun and I'm gonna go freeze.
There is no response other than continued running
Towards me?
towards you.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna line up and I don't even care. I'm gonna straight shoot right at them.
All right.
So I know what I'm doing next. So that was the trigger. I needed some noise, so that's good.
All right. So we're gonna make opposed rolls. What would that be? So would it be +2 for me? Would it be defense? I don't think they're that smart. Too far for fighting. I guess I'm just gonna roll. Yeah, just 2d6. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So that would be a grace again, right?
Correct. Your grace plus firearms.
Yep. Perfect. 7, baby.
All right, so that's going to be so with your end. Typically in combat it would be an extra damage.
Mhm.
So everything does like a single damage. So you're shooting them and causing either grace damage, brains damage, whatever would seem appropriate. It
Yeah.
could just be straight health.
Yeah.
So you are going to plug this thing and just lets out an ungodly shriek, but it's still coming.
Oh, fucking A.
Let's cut over to Arthur. So you're standing by the door going, hey, and you hear no response, and then all of a sudden you hear, pow! What do you do?
So I'm gonna run towards the door with one last look back over my shoulder, back the hallway up to the lighthouse, and I want to try to get the door open that Johnny went out. If I hear that, and kind of burst out to see what's going on.
Okay, so we're in action frames at this point. So your first frame, Johnny yells, freeze. This thing comes running. Boom! It gets shot. Your frame, you rip the door open. Step out into the darkness, and I guess take a look around. So why don't you give me an awareness, see if you can see where and what's going on.
Okay. That is a 7.
All right. Yeah. Yes. And you see Johnny is up towards the front end of the cottage, and there is some thing running at him.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull out my Calibri and kind of aim, but I'm gonna actually run towards Johnny also. Would I do that? Well, yeah. So something's going on. Johnny's there. I heard a shot, right? So I'm gonna go, pull out my gun and kind of
Move in that direction.
get closer to where Johnny is. Yeah.
All right. Next frames. What's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'd still keep on loading on because I still don't really see what this is, right?
Right. It did not sound human. Like it wasn't someone screaming. It was like, ululations, if you want to use a Lovecraftian term. Like
Yeah.
It was very squamous.
Yeah, even though he's a little put off, he's still like he thinks like he's not going to run away from the situation. He's just going to keep plugging away at this thing.
I'm wondering if you give me a psyche check. Somebody's running at you, and you just shot them, and they're still running. Yeah, why don't you give me a psyche check?
Okay.
And we'll call that. What do we want to call it? Challenging, difficult. We'll call it challenging. You're an FBI agent, right? Like, it's probably not your first firefight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right?
U.S.
it's
law
20s.
enforcement. You probably killed 40 people already.
Yeah, exactly. That's a 4.
4. So yes. So you're fine. You don't no need to roll on a shock table. You're like, fucking guy. He's probably on drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
He got into the hooch.
You're shooting. I'm doing a thing. Arthur, what are you doing?
Doing a thing.
I'm gonna. So if I see Johnny shooting again, then I'm gonna run up kind of next to him, but not like right next to him, just kind of in line with him. We'll do, not shoulder to shoulder, but I'm going to be kind of on the same plane as him. And if he's shooting, I'm looking to see whatever the hell this thing is coming at him, and I'm going to shoot at it also.
Okay, so you're running up and shooting. All right,
Yeah.
Everybody roll. Fuck these dice.
5.
Same.
Okay. So you got a 5. You got a 5. All right. So my attack is a no but. So this thing runs up to you and just tries to like swipe a claw down your front. Let's see. Missed by 1 is no but. So it is going to slash at you, I guess, maybe, and put you off balance. So that's the positive thing. It kind of like, it winds up shoving you instead, Johnny.
Okay.
You guys both got a 5, so that is a yes, but
I would say mine is yes, I shot, but it takes a long time to reload this stupid thing because it literally is like a Saturday night special, right? It's like a little one shot. It's a real tiny kind of thing. So it's
Okay.
not like I get a big cartridge or revolver to fill. So I
Okay.
shot, but then I've got to dig in my back pocket and try to get another bullet and load it.
all right. And I will say, I guess for Johnny, then not only do you get shoved, but then like you wind up falling down in the mud, dropping your gun.
Okay. That's what I figured would happen. Just thunk right in the mud.
Yeah. Like you don't lose it, but right, like it
Yeah.
flies, 3 or 4 feet from
Yeah,
you. So you're gonna
exactly.
go ahead
Yeah.
and look for it.
Yeah, exactly.
As you guys both, because you guys both hit it, it just like pushes you. You fall back, but it like tumbles and sort of like falls past you and rolls up and it's presumably dead on the ground. All right, so what do you guys do?
So it's on the ground. It's on the ground and Johnny's on the ground, right?
Yep. And I assume you're like fumbling with your pistol, like trying
Exactly.
to get the cartridge out, get another cartridge in.
So I'm going to kind of shift over to kind of put myself between whatever this thing is and Johnny while I'm reloading it. I'm kind of like sideways shifting over and looking down to make sure Johnny's all right. But, kind of also looking down at this thing and reloading and saying to Johnny, "Are you right? Do you need a hand up? Are you okay?"
Johnny doesn't even respond to Arthur. He just gosh, I can't even think of the word to say. He scrambles to grab the gun because all he wants to do is grab his gun and put another hole in this thing, regardless if it's down or not.
All right, so you grab your gun, you swing around to take a look at this thing to do the double tap. I need you guys both to give me a psyche check and a DL4 because this is not a human thing.
3.
So is this something because it possibly has to do with the occult? Can I use that or no?
I'll give you an occult because the dice are going to tell us whether or not maybe what this thing is or not.
Okay, perfect. That's a 7.
That's a 7. Jeez. All right. So Arthur looks at the things no but. So I guess we're not doing the but, right? Because you failed. So you're going to roll on the shock table.
Okay.
So you go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Let me pull that up again. See what
I don't know if we've talked about this during this role play, but what is your shock table?
So Call of Cthulhu and other games have a sanity mechanic. Back in the 80s when people were making games, like there wasn't a lot of, not that there wasn't a lot of thought into the mechanics, but the sensitivity maybe of the mechanic has been, knocked at various points. So instead of doing just like a straight, saying like, oh, you're insane, you're crazy, which seems kind of shitty nowadays. Seems shitty, right? Nowadays is not a caveat we want to put on it, right? Like it is what it is. Call of Cthulhu still uses that. Fear itself still uses that. Trail of Cthulhu. So we wanted to do something a little bit different. And since we've been playing Aliens, Alien has the stress table, so I kind of modeled things sort of off of that. So instead, in COREthulhu, we have shock and mental trauma. So essentially, the shock table kind of models what you see in the Aliens RPG. So if you, fail your psyche check, you wind up rolling on the shock table, which is not directly, the concept directly pulled from Aliens because, beg, borrow, and steal because RPGs. So it will vary anything from, holding it together, screaming, paralysis like we saw with Arthur earlier, all the way up to, taking one, a -1 to your psyche stat because you're so, overwhelmed by the thing that you're seeing. If you do wind up rolling a 12 and taking a -1 to your psyche, taking actual harm, you also take a level of trauma. So instead of sanity, we have trauma instead. Everything on the trauma track is essentially a symptom of, other actual, diagnosable things like PTSD or depression or anxiety. So all of the things on the track are symptoms of those sorts of things. So corollary, like in a Call of Cthulhu game, of like kind of like a temporary sanity, but not quite the same. So what it is, as your character, in this setting, investigates these, gets drawn into these horrible things, and then maybe continues to investigate, they will become, more and more, traumatized by the things that they see. You read a creepy ass book written in Aklo and learn some spell to raise the dead. That's going to have an effect on you in the long term. So the trauma track begins, at unsettled. So it's kind of like that duck walking over your grave, like something, like just your gut doesn't feel right. Like something kind of feels weird, moves on to anxious, moves into phobias where, you guys, Johnny will identify this as a deep one. Maybe you have phobias about the water, phobias about fish, those sorts of things, all the way up to the end of the track would be breakdown, which I might change to breaking point. Again, we don't want to have insane, because that doesn't really play. But it's an accumulation of this sort of trauma that you're experiencing in dealing with these mythos creatures. Do you reach a point where you just sort of shut down, like, what? I can't, I'm out. Like, fuck all this. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what like Delta Green does, right? You reach a breaking point where each time something happens, if you keep losing a certain amount, you reach a breaking point where then that is when you snap and you're like, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore, or I'm going to plow through this to the end kind of thing and finish it off. So.
Yeah, and I think you can reset, right? Like, I think it has vignettes where, like, you can burn, one of your, I forget what they call it in Delta Green, like a pillar of sanity or something like that. So, like, it's
your relationships, right? It's your wife or your dad. Yeah. You can burn your relationship to them to get those points back, kind of thing, because something happened to you and you go home and you're just all weirded out and not being talkative.
You lash out. Yeah,
exactly.
If I wouldn't have been out in that situation if you hadn't have bought that, whatever. I
can pay for the kids' school.
Yeah. And then at the end of an adventure arc, right? Because if you're playing in a campaign, like tonight would be one arc. So if we were going to play with these characters again at the end, the end of the scenario, you could make a recovery roll. So it'd be a straight psyche roll against a DL4, no modifiers. On a success, you're able to remove, be able to come back down one level on the trauma track. So if you're at insomnia, then that would bump you back down to nightmares. If you get a yes and, it would bump you back 2. The suggestion in the rules then is like, then in your downtime, after a scenario, that the characters are doing things that would help to alleviate that stress. Whether they're going to counseling or, journaling or whatever it is that the character is doing. We encourage that, people go ahead and play that because it informs, sort of who the characters are and, what's going on with them, especially if you're playing campaign play, because your character's going to change so much over the course of the game. The way it's currently set up is that, and maybe not tonight because we haven't had anybody roll on the trauma track, but theoretically, the characters will accrue more trauma than they can potentially recover, especially if an adventure winds up going on for a couple of sessions. Like what we see in our Cthulhu Invictus game. I think we had one scenario that lasted like 5 sessions. So you get pretty far down the track potentially.
Yeah.
And then maybe only be able to come back up 2. So that's what we have going with trauma. That's the way it sits right now. But again, we're sort of play testing to see like how all the mechanics sort of fit together. And I think that the narrative dice mechanic with, if you fail your psychic roll and you get a no but, in the first blush doesn't seem to work because you're going to roll on that shock table. So you're getting something potentially bad. So it seems like the but, like, how does that offset? But it's maybe more of a post game.
Yeah.
Scenario. But,
yeah. But, well, I'm glad you kept it in mind, at least you actually made a conscious effort to not just, put these in to have them in and them not be treated seriously, because even though we're playing characters, people deal with certain things all the time. So,
and it's just sort of a role playing prompt. And again, like, we play for therapy a lot of times. Our Day Trippers game is for us famous for that, for John and I. So, but if people are, dealing with trauma in their own personal lives and they're like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Then just take it out. Right. Like maybe keep the shock table because, as an in-game mechanical, like combat effect where you're like, oh shit, I run away, which isn't, as bad, I guess, in the psychological dynamic. It's more of like, hey, my action is like getting the fuck out of here right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But if people are like, hey, like, I don't want to like play someone who, has substance abuse issues or, is dealing with paranoia, then you just throw it out and you just don't use that when, if you decide you want to play COREthulhu, you like it and you're like everything but that, you just throw it out because it's your game and you play it however, you want to play it.
Yeah. Yep.
And I actually gave a copy of COREthulhu to my therapist. So she's sort of given a sensitivity read to see like, does this all sort of make sense and isn't like, oh, that seems really bad or like that doesn't make sense. So I'm waiting for her feedback too. So
perfect.
All right. So what did Arthur get after all that?
Arthur got a 9.
Oh, so he's gonna lash out at so you could actually lash out at the Dead Deep one too, but what it is on the chart is lashing out at the nearest being physically or verbally. So while you're thinking about that, Johnny, looks down at this creature and is like, son of a bitch. Like, I read about these things, being in and around working out of Massachusetts. You heard about that raid at Innsmouth. You've seen some of those reports. You've seen, some of those sketches, and son of a bitch, if that doesn't look like a deep one.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Arthur's doing at the time, but he's basically just like kind of looking it over a little bit, and he's saying that to himself. He's like, yeah, son of a gun, I can't believe it. He's like, oh, out here of all things, this, oh, he's thinking to himself, like, he's, instead of like being like excited that he's alive, that they're both alive, he's just pissed. He's just like, this again, or he's like, just, oh, and he just kind of like almost like stomps around a little bit and just muttering to himself.
And what does Arthur do with his lashing out?
So we did physically or verbally. I would say. So I want to do the verbal thing. So he's going to kind of bend down a bit to whatever that thing laying on the ground is and just like start shouting, "Where's George? What did you do with George? Where's George?" Shouting at it. What'd you do with my buddy? Where's George? And they're just screaming at it over and over again.
All right. And we're out of, well, for the moment, we're out of action frame. So we're going to leave you screaming. Johnny's, sort of like muttering and kind of like looking around. Johnny, why don't you go ahead and give me an awareness check?
Okay.
DL 3.
Okay. That's a 6.
All right. You sort of like look, you're kind of like looking down and you're like, fuck, I can't believe this. And you look up and you see more figures coming from the tree line. So what do you do?
Shit. All right, so Johnny grabs Arthur by the collar, or by the shoulders or whatever, and he's like, "We gotta go."
So Arthur's going to stop screaming. Does Arthur notice what the thing on the ground is? Because he thought he's thinking it's just some kind of thug that was coming up to steal George's stuff. Can he tell it's not just a normal dude?
It's not human. It's
okay.
Not. Yeah, you can tell it's humanoid.
Yeah,
but it's got fangs. It's got if you look close, it's got claws. It looks like it's got scales, although sort of as it's laying on its back, its stomach maybe looks not quite as scaly, or not as like thick as it is like on the shoulders and like across the back and all that. But it's not human.
So Arthur's going to feel Johnny's hand on his shoulder, pulling him around and yelling, and he's going to follow after him. And while he's doing that, he's going to be shouting at Arthur, or he's going to be shouting at Johnny. What the hell was that thing? What is that? What's going on? While he's running, following after Johnny.
Yeah. Can I see that map again? Just because I know that I'm kind of like going to be a little bit shaken or whatever, but.
So you guys are out like over here by
Okay.
But so there's woods like say off over here.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like not like sort of along the woods, and then you see stuff coming like out from the woods.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that I grab him and I just start heading towards the back where the generator is.
Okay, so you guys are all the other way. Okay. Yep.
And then I what kind of information do I know about that deep one?
Oh, fuck. You got a 7, right? So you got a I guess give me another occult roll.
Sure.
We'll call it a DL4. I mean, you already got a success on it before.
That would be a 4 exactly.
So that's a yes, but you know that there was an action in Innsmouth. And again, this may be out of sequence. I think it was like 1923 in the book. So like the timeline would be nice for this. We'll just say that it is. You know, you saw some reports that there was, you know, Devil's Reef, you know, like that sticks out in your mind that there was these, you know, creatures, the Navy was involved, and like there's just like wholesale slaughter that, you know, there was something wrong with the people in Innsmouth. You know, something about I think it was Wilbur Whately. No, was it Whately? Marsh. It was Marsh. You know, something about the metalworks, you know, something with Marsh and the gold. You're not 100% sure. Like, yes, you know of it. You know, you've seen the reports. You know something, but about them, like specifically, like biologically, like, you know, about them specifically, you're not. You know, it's like on the tip of your tongue. Like you're just not sure.
Okay. So basically, I just kind of like ramble on about that kind of stuff. You know, I would just be like, yeah, well, this happened and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's just your friend George, he got into some weird shit and we are in trouble. So he just keeps running until they get to like the generator, just back behind to see if there's anything else that, like, if there's something around there that could help shield them or help hide them or whatnot.
All right. As you come around the back of the building, there are an array of buildings. I guess from the outside, you wouldn't necessarily know what they were, but I'll tell you because it doesn't matter. There's a bathtub shower. There's an outhouse. There's the generator shed. There's a work shed. And that's it. So as you come around, the first building you would come upon would probably be the shower. And I think that one's pretty easy to see what it is. I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Nope, that's the inside. That's where it was. Nope, let me scroll back up again. I know what's in here. Well, I think it's up towards the front. Nope. Oh, here we go. Oh, let's see. Yep, that's what we see.
Okay, you're not sharing it. You're just saying that there's a shower there.
Yeah, there's a description of it, and I can't.
No, that's okay. I thought you were gonna bring something up, and then when you didn't, I was like, okay.
I'm looking at the island map, and
okay.
then I'm scrolling through to see what it says. A crude outdoor shower bathtub with jury-rigged shower head and wooden canopy over it. So, like, I feel like when you come around and the lightning flashes and you see, like, oh, fuck, that's a shower, that's not going to be helpful at all. Let's keep going. you know?
Yeah.
And then the outhouse has the little fucking window cut into it. So you're like, nope, don't want that either.
Yeah. I would probably direct Arthur towards the generator room, even though it's like loud and kind of ridiculous or whatever. I think it would be a good place to kind of keep ourselves hidden, but also maybe we could kind of, you know, talk a little bit without maybe being sensed or anything. I don't know.
So I say we run back. So we see the bathtub shower there. That's kind of the first thing we see when we're running. If we're running down, and then off to our right is kind of where the generator shed is, and the outhouse is behind it. So I would say we head over kind of towards the generator, and you know, Arthur will shout back to Johnny. You know, are there more coming? Are they following us? Do we climb up on top of the shed, or do we go inside? Which is the better option? Do we bar ourselves in? Do we get up on top to get a better view?
Boy. What would he say?
I don't know. What do you say?
Yeah, no kidding, right? I think that he would just be like, I think he would just say, I think we should just, I don't know, they were coming towards us. I don't want to take a chance. Let's go in here and let's bar the door and let's stay here. And let's hopefully we can hide out until morning.
Okay. So I will go and try to see if I can get the door open on the generator, the shed where the generator is.
Yeah, it pulls right open.
Okay. And is there any window or anything out onto it, or is it just like a shed? Close the door and it's all encased so you can't see out?
Yeah, it's just a shed. It doesn't say what it's made out of, so it's probably some combination of, wood and like the tin, the like corrugated metal sheeting and stuff.
Okay. So I'll dive into, or not dive in. I'll try to see if I can get the door open and go in and hold it open until Johnny comes in behind me.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's easy enough to get in. You guys slam the door shut, and then you hear that. Give me an awareness roll. You don't hear shit.
Depends on what we roll.
That's a 3.
That is a 5.
We'll call it a 3. So yes, but and then a 5 is a yes and. So yes, and you hear footsteps pounding. You hear like guttural growling. I mean, those things were coming out of the woods, so they saw you, right? So they're just running after you. You're not sure where you are at the moment, but there are things outside. Your no but would be, or you got a yes but. So yes, but it seems shitty, but like I think maybe yes, you hear the things coming, but you like back up into the generator and knock over some of the firewood that's stacked up inside. So when you go in, inside the electric generator is running. It's copious amounts of gasoline and firewood. There's a leak in the generator's roof. The raindrops are spattering through. So I think, you get the door closed, you shim it up as best as you can. And as you're like sort of backing up, gun in hand, you just like bump, into a half a cord of firewood, and like some of the firewood sort of falls down.
Does the firewood fall down and start to catch from where the generator is burning, or you just saying he just knocks it down and makes a bunch of noise?
Yeah, it makes some noise. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So we're not going to smoke ourselves out after we get right.
No.
Okay, so Arthur's reloaded his pistol from before, and then he's keeping an eye on the door, and then he's rooting around in his back pocket, and he's trying to see how many bullets he has left, and he has 3 left after that, so he's got 4 total. So he looks back to Johnny and says, I don't know how many are out there. I didn't get a good look to see how many. But I don't think I've got too many shots left. We may have to think about what we want to do. You said there's kind of a hole in the top of it where the rain's coming in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like rusted or like it's, not fitted right, where it's rain's
Okay.
kind of like spattering in.
Is it a tin roof rusted? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, we'll say it's a tin roof. Yeah.
Sweet.
We start singing. It's a love shack.
Arthur.
And Arthur's gonna kind of go back from the door and kind of look up to see, depending on how big the hole is, where the rain's coming in, just to make sure nothing's coming down into it. And he's gonna shout to Johnny. Hopefully you've got more shots than me left. I only got 4 left. And I don't know how many are out there.
He flashes his fingers and he shows you how many rounds does a 38 special hold?
It's probably 6, but I think you have an extra.
I have an extra box. Yep. So I flash him 17.
10, 5.
Yeah, exactly.
So then Arthur's going to say, if there's 17 out there, I think we're in trouble. But if you got 17, I think we're all right. We got 21 altogether. And, he'll keep an eye out, just to make sure there's like no weird webby arms coming through the hole in the ceiling.
Yeah. And Johnny will keep his gun trained on the door.
All right. It's funny as you say that, as Arthur has been shouting the entire time, you just hear like boom, boom, boom on the door as these things come up and like sort of narrow down where you were at. You also hear in the background like shit being thrown over. They presumably knocked down the shower. Like they know you went back this way.
So then Johnny kind of looks at Arthur and like puts a hand out and then puts his finger to his mouth like, shut up. Like see if we can, even though they're banging on the shed that we're at, like maybe they don't know we're in here. So.
Oh man, how do we resolve that? I think I'm going to roll might. Oh, against what for the door, though, right? Like, what are we going to call it? We want to call it a 5, maybe? Challenge rating DL5?
Yeah, because we barricaded. It's going to be a little harder than that.
All right. Oh, I got a 7.
Oh,
7, 7, 7. So as you guys are in there, you're like, shut the fuck up. You like a louder bang as the frame starts to crack and shatter. What do you guys do?
Oh boy. Does it look like it's going to be broken down like soon? Does it look like it's just dented?
All right, well, let's say this. Let's drop into action frames then. So you guys did your thing. They figured it out. They're pounding on the door. Let's drop an action frame. So I know what I'm doing. What are you guys doing?
I think that Johnny is actually going to start. How heavy is the firewood? Is it like something that I can hold in one hand? Do I have to hold it in 2 hands? How big are the pieces?
Probably 2 hands, right? So I'm thinking like split cordwood.
Okay.
So it's, like a quarter piece sort of thing. Like a triangular cut
Okay.
piece.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be interesting. So I think what fuck does he want to do that? No, never mind. I was thinking about like just grabbing some firewood and starting it on fire and then throwing it towards the front of the entrance and then seeing if they, run into it or whatever. But once they knock the door down, who knows? All hell could break loose. So that's probably a terrible idea.
And you're surrounded by wood and gasoline, so.
Oh, that's true. Okay. So what? Are there any shelves towards the front of the door?
Shelves on the front.
Actually, give me a little bit of more of a layout of how everything looks. Like, where's the fire burning? Where's the
so
what
there's
else
no
is
fire
in there?
burning. So it's an electrical generator.
Hold on. I lost my headphones. Sorry. I'm like, I can't hear what you're saying. Stop. Go ahead.
So it's like say I don't know, like a 12 by 6 foot shed. It's got an electrical generator, so it's got a vent for the fumes. Along one side, there's jerry cans of gasoline. Along the other side, I guess maybe to keep it out of the rain, because there's a wood burning stove inside. There's firewood down the other side. Maybe like a quarter cord's worth. Whatever that is, like a cord of wood is like the size of a VW Beetle, I think, right? So maybe about a quarter of that. We could say on either side of the front door, there's some maybe a full shelving on one side and then like 2 shelves on the other side.
Okay. And you said there's no fire going. There's just a
right. It's an electrical generator, so it's just running on the gasoline.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. And the cans, are they metal cans of gas?
Probably back then, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this just ruined everything I was thinking of. So I'm just gonna sit in a corner and train my gun against the door, I guess. The far corner.
Okay. So you're holding your action, Kevin. What are you doing?
Actually, no. I lied. I'm gonna sit towards the front, actually, and wherever the door is swinging, I'm gonna be on that other side, ready to just put one into the brain.
Okay.
Arthur's going to be obviously on the kind of the other side of where Johnny's standing to do a bit more cover, but he's going to be a bit further back because it seems like Johnny's gun has a bit more shots in it, and I've got to take time to reload. So I'm going to line up and aim towards the door also, but be kind of next to where Johnny's standing, but further back.
Okay, so you guys are both holding your actions then, which makes this a weird roll, but so it's gonna be a 4. We say 5, so that's a no. But so it's just continued pounding. We'll go to the next frame. You guys doing anything different? Same action?
Are there any like holes in the door or whatever where I could just train my gun out there to see, or just take pot shots?
I mean, you could shoot through the door.
Right?
I mean, there's nothing preventing you from doing that.
I don't know if I want to waste ammo trying to do that.
It's up to you.
Fuck it. I'll try it.
Okay. I'll give you your straight grace roll.
Okay.
Without because you can't see anything, right? You're firing blind, so we'll lose your
for sure.
+1.
Okay.
Kevin, what about you?
While Johnny's doing that, I've got my gun in one hand, and I'm gonna just go grab a big hunk of wood in the other, right? Because at least if I can fire and then throw something, then that'll give me some time to then kind of reload. So he's got his gun aimed, and he's got a piece of wood in his hand to throw too, and he's waiting to see what Johnny shoots.
6.
I also got a 6. And Kevin, you're holding your action. Okay. And what the fuck did we say on a tie?
Last time we said we both failed, but that's up to you.
Well, actually, so it has armor. So you got this by 1 is a no, but and it's just it's attacking the door though, but it's the same roll. Because we're not acting on each other. right? So it would be opposed rolls in action, but the deep one is doing something else, right? It's not actually attacking you, it's attacking the door.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say this. So it breaks the door. And you got and what did you have? A yes, but?
Yeah, 6. So yes.
So we'll say that you miss, but it doesn't come in, right? Like it shies back, like breaks the thing in, and you take a shot, and it kind of like throws itself back.
Okay.
And we go into the next frame.
So the door is down, and I can see what's about to come in.
You can see out, yeah.
How many are around that I can see?
Give me a quick awareness. Give me a 3.
Okay. 6.
It looks like there's 3 of them.
Okay.
You can each give me a brains roll.
Okay.
DL 3.
I ain't seeing. I ain't understanding shit. I got a 1.
Neither of us are.
What were your rolls?
2.
1.
All right, so you no, and you have no fucking clue. You missed it by 1, so you got a no but. What would the butt be though? Because the butt would be giving you the thing.
No, but I'm going to throw this log at him real quick.
Fuck, I don't know. When we're not playing, it's easy to come up with these scenarios. No, but you are not foolish enough to like run outside or like shoot blindly, I guess. No, but you're waiting for a target, right? Like you're smart enough to be like, oh, let me wait to see if I see something.
Okay.
All right. We move into the next frame. What are you doing?
If the door's down and they're there, right? I'm going to shoot.
Yep. Yeah. Like one shied back because like, Johnny shot like right past it. So it kind of like, But yeah, they're there and they're going to try to get in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to shoot them.
Okay. Oh, shit.
So I think Johnny's going to try to do something really stupid, but hopefully will work.
All right.
He's going to grab one of those gas cans, take the lid off of it, and then he's going to attempt to throw it right at them and shoot the thing in midair.
All right. So that would be doing multiple actions. So they'll each take a -2.
Okay.
Like if you want to on this turn, grab a can, throw the top off, and throw it. And then, because the frames are so short, if you want to say in the subsequent frame, as it's coming down, you take your shot. Or if you want to do it all in one frame, it's going to be, a -2 on those.
Nope. I will definitely do it in sequences.
Okay. So you're running to grab a gas can and open it. I mean, that's easy. Just give me a grace roll at make it a 3.
Okay. 5.
Okay, you're good. I mean, you grab it, you get it, and you fucking heave. Kevin, you said you're shooting?
Yep.
All right, what was your roll?
6.
I got 6 too. This never happens when we play.
Too many ties.
Wow. So I guess it's a yes, but for each of us?
So yes.
Right, because it's a success. It's a tie, right? Like it's on the button, so it would be a yes, but I think.
So when Arthur goes to reload, he's got 3 bullets left, and when he goes to pull them out of his back pocket, he pulls one out, and another one falls out of his pocket and lands on the ground.
All right, I dig that. So you hit the deep one. He takes a point of damage. We'll say it's off his health, and then so he slashes you for a point. We'll say we'll say health, right? Because you're not going to use that stat.
Okay.
And then his butt would be he, I guess, blocks up the doorway, right? So like he comes in and swipes at you as you're kind of like on the side, but he's blocking his brethren from getting in, right? So like for the next frame, he's kind of in the way.
Okay.
And then we move to the next frame. So we know what Kurt's doing. This thing is going to attack. I'm assuming you're shooting, or does it take core isn't crunchy enough to be like, oh, it takes a round for you to reload. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm, putting a powder in a ball in a musket. So I'm sure it is a quick, it's just grabbing it and putting it in. It's not, sticking the rod down and anything. So I would say the next action would be I could put it in fire. If you're all right with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. All right.
5.
I got a 6.
Damn it. Missed.
All right. So 6 over 5. So it's a yes. You guys got a, was that a no but?
No but.
Because you missed by 1. So you don't hit the gas can. It goes out the door and starts to spill all over. So there'll be a half full jerry can on your next turn. Kevin, you got to know, but maybe what it was is you jammed the round into the chamber, but the gun didn't click close, right? So like you got it in and went to go and shoot, but like it's not positioned right.
Okay.
We go with that.
Yep.
And I got a success, so that would be another point to your health. How you doing, bud?
I'm at 0 now.
All right. I think for PCs, it's 0 at 3 stats. It's at least 2.
Yeah, I think it's 3. I think I remember that.
And I think you're going to be rocking a negative to your actions now.
Okay.
See, we never have to do like this side of it when we play Day Trippers, and like we just take it all for granted. I think you take a neg on your actions now.
Okay. A negative dice or a negative number?
Let's call it a minus. Well, so you have no health dice to roll, which doesn't really matter because they're not doing anything to you. Like you're not using.
And I don't have any skills in health anyway, so.
Yeah. Let's just say you're going to take a -1 to all your actions. So a negative, -1, not a minus die, but like just a minus
okay.
1.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Here we go again. I am clawing. Actually, he's going to try to bite you.
So the one guy is trying to claw Arthur. Is he blocking the entranceway still?
That's an interesting question. I guess he's moved in on Arthur then at that point. So yeah, there's probably another one.
Yep. And the gas, is it inside where we're at or is it outside of the
I want to say it's outside. The can sailed out the door, so it's outside the door and it's pooling, outside.
And you said he was trying to bite me, right?
Yeah, he's trying to bite you.
Okay, can I? Is there a dog?
I mean, you could shoot him, right? So you're like, oh shit, click the chamber close and yeah.
Oh shoot!
And Kurt, are you gonna shoot at the can?
I think I'm going to, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say just give me a DL3 on shooting, right?
Okay.
Like the can is not gonna resist.
That's a 4. Actually, a 5.
A 5. Okay, so yes, so you hit it, it explodes. The one that's outside, I'll give him a grace roll. So a 4 is not going to do it. So it catches on fire.
Nice.
And
I shout, "You burn, you son of a bitch!"
And I shot at the one that was coming at me.
Yep, I got a 5.
I got a 5.
Okay, so it so it's a yes, but it bites you, but it doesn't latch on. So take a point to your might.
Okay.
So bites your kind of like neck area. And you also got a yes, but it's the one that you were shooting at already. So you put it down, like it bites you. I mean, that's why it didn't latch on, because you're like, it's close enough to you just like put the gun under its chin
And shoot it.
Pull the trigger. Yeah.
So my butt would be, that was my last bullet I had in hand, and the other one that was on the ground that I dropped. And when I went to shoot it, I kicked the bullet and it skidded across the floor. So now I'm going to go try to find my last bullet.
And then the other one, Kurt, you had rolled a 5, right? Or 6?
I rolled a 5. Yep.
Okay, so the other one that got in rolled a 6. So that'd be a yes. So it takes a swipe at you. We'll say you got a -1 to your health then.
Okay.
So if you had 2 die, you go down to 1 die.
Yep. Actually, my health is 3, so it'd be down to a 2 now.
Okay, cool. Then you're good to go. All right. So that one is up and inside and angry. The other one is outside. It's going to, I guess, try to put itself out. It's raining, so I guess maybe we'll make that like a DL3. So let's roll that. So we got a 6, so it's no longer on fire, but that's its round.
Yeah.
The other one is going to try to slash at you again. I'm assuming you're shooting.
Of course, I'm shooting that bastard.
Kevin, what are you doing?
I'm going to go try to dive on the ground and grab my last bullet and load. So I'm assuming that's my action.
Yeah, that'll be your action. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, not so great for me. I got a 4.
Yay, 6.
All right. So you are gonna do yes, and so 2 shots. So it comes towards you, and you're just like bow, wow, right to the head. So that'll take it down. You hear our roar from outside. We drop into the next frame. It is going to run in and try to slash, I guess, at Johnny. So we'll go ahead and roll.
I'm gonna reload before it gets in, just so I have a full gun of bullets. Yes, because technically it wasn't inside yet before I reloaded, right?
I mean, it's outside the door, so it's 3 steps in a.
Okay,
fine,
fine, John, fine. Okay, so technically I only have 1 bullet left then.
Okay.
So, all right, I'm gonna shoot him.
Kevin, I'm assuming you are gonna shoot.
Yeah, I was going to say that last round was me, scrambling to pick up the bullet and load it. So now I'm going to shoot.
Okay. I got a 6 total.
I've got a 6. 5 plus 1.
I got a 7, motherfucker.
I was going to say my easy one to say is yes, but I'm out of bullets, but that's already known, so I can't think of what my butt is.
All right. Well, so it swipes at Johnny. Again, just like rakes the front of you. You guys both shoot it. you're able to take it down. You guys both center mass shot. Your butt's not going to be super relevant then, but like, yeah, I don't know. I've got nothing. and you're out of combat, so I don't know that it matters. Yeah, so you guys are both standing amid a small pile of Deep One corpses. Would you guys go ahead and make another psyche check? As you are confronted with the reality that, like, not only was there one weird thing, but there's like there's more weird things. We'll make it a DL. I mean, you killed him. We'll make it a DL 4.
3.
6.
The FBI guy's like, yeah, this is fucking bullshit. So go ahead and make me a check on the shock table, Kevin.
8.
Running full speed in the opposite direction. So as you look down, the fire's like starting to burn down outside as some rain is going and the wind is blowing, and you're just like fuck, and just start running out of the shed back, I guess, towards the building, back towards like the cottage.
Where would I go? So if I'm looking at the map, so that's there.
We're off the South Pier and into the water. I'm out.
Yeah, where would I run? I
mean, I would think like safety, right? Like, that, well, I mean, theoretically the cottage is safe, but.
Well, yeah, so I'll run back towards the door of the kitchen, right? That's where we came out, was the kitchen. So I'll run back down the path towards that way. Screaming and yelling.
All right, Johnny, what do you do?
What do I do? I don't know if I want to run after crazy screamy guy here. No, that's not nice. He would probably run after him because he's an FBI guy and he wants to do good. Yeah, he'd run after Arthur. He wouldn't yell at him or anything like that, or like try to cause a scene like he's doing, because he knows that Arthur hasn't seen what he's seen and knows what he knows. So he tries to follow him, and he basically is just like sits there for like 2 seconds and goes, "Fuck Arthur," and then he just runs after him.
All right. So you guys, make it back into the kitchen unmolested. Like, I think as Arthur comes around, or as Johnny comes around, like Arthur's trying to close the fucking door on him. I don't know. Wait. So you guys slam the door. Take a minute to breathe. Everything seems to be as you left it.
I will look over to Johnny, kind of heavy breathing, but, trying to get my breathing back under control, and say, I don't know what those things are. I'll ask you about it later. You seem to be a bit more understanding when they came out. But let's go into the lighthouse and find out where the hell George is. Either for me to beat the crap out of him or you to arrest him.
All right. Do you make sure to lock the door? Do you jam a chair under the knob? Do you make sure the front door, like what's your plan? Or do you just go up to the lighthouse?
I would think Arthur, you said that chair was broken. I think Arthur in this
there was a couple of chairs in there. It's a little kitchen area.
I would think Arthur would, slam the door shut, even, considering he almost slammed it shut on Johnny. Once the door is closed, he would try to make sure it doesn't open again. So yeah, he would grab a chair and wedge it underneath the doorknob.
Okay. Do you also attend to the front door? Do you think about it?
No, I think it would just be it would be the kitchen, and then we would go, and I would, once the kitchen's done, Arthur would head up to the steps to go up into the lighthouse, because he's pissed off now. He's got to find George and see what the hell's going on.
All right, I'll give Johnny an awareness roll to see if he notices that the front door is open.
Okay.
Beat a deal 3.
Okay. But as like Arthur kind of like heads out briskly out of the kitchen and he looks at the door and he's like, "Yep, that'll keep him out." Yep.
Every little bit helps.
That's true. 6.
6. So as you follow him out, you're like in full FBI mode. So you're checking left and right. You look, you see the front door is open. You're like, ah, fuck. Go front. Lock the door. Hopefully it works.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
And then you start making your way up into the lighthouse.
And so Arthur starts yelling back when Johnny goes to shut the front door and just go, "Come on, let's go. We got to go find George."
All right. So you guys make it up the steps. You're cruising along. Nothing jumps out. Nothing happens. As you get towards the top of the steps, you come to a little room. It's the service room. It's like below the lighthouse level. There's a table there. You can hear the mechanism run. Like the light is running. Like, it's got power. Generators running. The light is moving. It's just not shining for whatever reason. There's another set of steps that leads up to the actual lighthouse level. There's boxes there. There's replacement bulb. If you stop to look, there's replacement bulbs for the beacon. There's a workbench, tool bag. There's a log book of all the stuff that they're supposed to be doing. Do you look through any of the stuff or no? You just kind of like take a cursory glance, or do you?
I'm going to be looking around to see if I can see George. So I'm not looking at anything else, but if there's another person up here, trying to see where George is at.
Yep.
I think originally I would do the same and then do maybe something else after the fact if we don't see anybody up here.
Okay. So you make a note and then, all right, let's keep going. So you go up the next little ladder. You get up into the lighthouse beacon area itself. As you sort of come through the trap door, there's it smells wet, like more wet than like it's raining inside, right? Like you just smell the water and you smell a metal coppery smell as you pop your head out, and you could feel the wind, like curl, flaps your hat as you top the steps there.
Yep. So I would actually be going first instead of Arthur, just because I have bullets in my gun and I'm trained more than he is on things like this. So I'm just kind of, as I open the trap door, I'm kind of peeking my head through with my gun, just surveying everything and making sure that there's nothing around that will, try to surprise us or anything.
All right. What you see when you do that is a couple of corpses, lots of blood, another, more of the deep ones. And one of them is actually latched onto the guy's neck in a death bite. And no sanity yet, no psyche yet. So I assume you climb up the rest of the way to let Arthur up.
So everybody's dead.
It would appear so, but you haven't investigated the room yet. Yes, you see corpses, or presumably corpses.
Yeah. So I think I wouldn't necessarily let Arthur up just yet. I think I would look back down at Arthur and just kind of hold up my hand again. Let me see if I can put my hand so everyone can see. And, so I'm just kind of like this to him, and I'm just kind of like I give him like, just wait for me. And I don't say anything. I just kind of give him those hand signals and I make my way up.
All right. So if you're familiar with George as well, you see the body of George on the floor. There's two more of the deep ones and another guy, but not really. He's more of a sort of a fish guy. Like he's halfway to deep one. He's dressed in clothes, but he's got the bulbous eyes and he's got, the scales and stuff, but he's not like full on like fangs and all the other shit. And that's what you see. If you investigate, if you want to, first aid roll confirms everybody's dead. If you want to give me a first aid check, which would be brains.
Yeah, I think I would do that first before I go investigating everything else. What's first aid is brains too, right?
Would be brains, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
You're checking pulses and that kind of stuff.
7.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you crushed it. It'd be like a 3. I mean, there's tons of blood. Like these people are probably dead, but yeah, for sure he's dead.
Yeah.
And it looks like most of them were shot. Looks like George did the shooting. He made a final stand up here in the lighthouse. So as the FBI guy, you don't see your partner anywhere. He's not amongst the dead people. You haven't seen him at all. But yeah, it is a scene of carnage. If you look around, you can find, let's see. So you sort of like move this body off and you like pull the thing off that's biting on his neck. You find around his neck a heavy purse just full of those coins. He's got a pistol in his hand. He's shot all of the bullets. Yeah, that's it.
So he surveys kind of everything, and then he says, Arthur, it's okay. Why don't you head on up?
So Arthur will come up, look around. He'll be a bit shocked. And then he'll, see George's body and just say, George, you dumb bastard. What did you get involved in now?
And I think that's going to be a hard psyche check because, like, you worked with this guy. Like, you guys were friends?
Yeah.
If not business associates.
Okay. 6.
Oh, look at you. They're like, well, you got yourself into some shit and he paid for it, I guess.
Well, I guess Arthur's thought is, okay, George got himself into something. He can't get into anything worse now. And now if he's dead, whatever other crap he was involved in, it can tie back to me. I can find it and get rid of it. Or bury, if there's any kind of documents or anything lying around, either we torch this place or, I'll find a way to try to get those so no one else gets them. But yeah, so the dead men tell no tales, right? So that's a good thing that now George can't get me stuck into it because he's not here to do it, but I can find out any evidence and get rid of it. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed that, but yeah, we've been in the business before and stuff like this happens. So that's one less thread tying back to me now.
All right. If you guys want to give me an awareness check. DL, yeah, make it a 3.
5.
7.
All right. It looks, not only did he kill these things, shot the windows out, looks like it hit the lamp lens and smashed the light. So you guys think you might be able to replace the light as like a temporary fix, but like it needs a new lens, because it's like a million lenses that make up the actual light for the lighthouse. So it'll need to be fixed, but you think you could probably replace the bulb as a temporary fix so no one else crashes?
Do we even worry about that, though? I'm not worried about that. Yeah, so Arthur's not worried about changing the bulb or getting anything. He's just looking down at George and looking at all those other weird things around. And, he says, he doesn't shout, but he says to Johnny, you seem to know what these things are. I ain't never seen anything like this before. Seems really weird.
Yeah. No, I can't think of anything to say right now. Do I know anything about those things and maybe a sensitivity to light?
Based on your earlier roll, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Right, like you made the check to, what do I know about deep one sort of thing.
Yeah. I look at Arthur and I say, I think we may have to fix this, otherwise we're not getting off of this island.
So Arthur will go and I'm assuming it's like changing like a big light bulb, right? So he'll go over to where the shot out one is and, kind of take it out and, kind of throw it on the ground and go to where the other replacement ones are and say, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I don't think we want to stay here any longer. The quicker we get this fixed, the better. So yeah, he'll start working on trying to get that light going again.
All right. None of you guys have any sort of repair skills, but just give me a grace roll at give me 3.
Okay. Also, as Arthur's doing the work or whatever, he surprises Arthur by patting him down, and if he finds one of those coins, he just throws it on the ground, and he's like, "This is what got your friend in trouble in the first place."
So while I'm doing that, I rolled a 3. So what is that? Is that a
yes? But
I got a 4.
So Arthur was. So would the butt be him
maybe
getting
the coins?
Well, that's what I was saying. So is it the butt on me getting the light going, or is it the butt that I can't stop Johnny from finding the coins on him, kind of thing? You know what I mean?
We get a yes, but so you do the thing. You're able to swap.
Okay, so that's done.
Yeah.
So my butt would be So I'm not able to shimmy away, so he can't see that I have the coin. So so that makes perfect sense. And
I like that.
He'll look over and when Johnny does that, he'll say, if that's the case, you seem to be a bit more of an expert than me on this. I know, me being an expert, these coins are actually worth something, but if you're saying this is the reason George is where he's at now, then this is probably the better thing to do, to leave him here. It ain't worth having these things trying to track me down just for a little bit of extra money.
Yeah, he gets this almost kind of mad look on his face when you're kind of like, well, obviously these are a lot of money, and he's just like, who gives a shit? We almost died because of it, but he doesn't say anything.
You always got to be on that grind.
We could probably wrap, but so you can investigate further. You could go back through the whole house, or we could just sort of wrap it, and I could tell you what you guys missed and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think ending it on that is, this is what got your friend killed.
Yeah.
And me saying, well, yeah, you always gotta go get that bread somehow. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys had investigated the woods outside past like where all the shower and all that shit was, Michael Turner was eviscerated in the woods.
Oh, nice.
And that was Johnny's partner then, right?
Yeah, that was Johnny's
Yeah.
partner. He was undercover as a lighthouse attendant to sort of monitor, illegal trafficking outside in the waterways there. So a ship crashed the night. So if you go back and you read through everything, if you go down back down one level to where the journal is for like the work, on February 12th, the light went out, and this ship coming in with a shipment of gold from the South Seas crashed outside where the lighthouse is. So all these gold coins started washing up on the beach. George happened to find them. He found one and then another and another. His journal is downstairs in the study. So if you had investigated the study, you would have found his journal. There's a contact with Arthur, so you would have recognized that. Like, oh shit, he's talking about me. So he's reached out trying to find someone to price these things, see if he could try to sell them. One of the person that he reached out to was occultists, who worship Dagon and are in Innsmouth. So they sent the deep ones to go collect the coins because they don't want that stuff getting out. He did get a letter back from someone who was like, yeah, I don't know what they're worth, but like Innsmouth is a bad place, so like don't go there. So then presumably like he wrote a letter to someone at Innsmouth and was like, hey, I have these things. What are these worth? So they came to get him. And Michael got caught up in it. There was a third lighthouse keeper who had seen things kind of like moving around or whatever over the last like 2 months as they were trying to collect the gold and shit out of the ship that was crashed. When they realized that George had them, or that other things were going on, the third guy was like, that's it, I'm out of here. The deep ones got a hold of him. They tortured him. They found out that, George had coins, and then they were like, oh, well, we're going to go in and get them. So you're coming in on the aftermath of the deep ones coming in to claim what's rightfully theirs, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a demo scenario for Call of Cthulhu, so it's meant to like show, the mechanics for that and kind of like, get everybody into it. I don't know if that was it's clearly not the best thing for core, because then it's just like a lot of, so in Call of Cthulhu, you'd be like, all right, well, roll a spot hidden. So you roll, try to roll under your skill. Well, for this, then, you have to set a DL for everything, which typically is going to be, somewhere between 2 and 4, right? Like it's not impossible.
Yeah.
So that seems kind of same, which I don't know that I love.
Well, I think that the way of doing it in core gives you, so I think everybody's complaint about playing Call of Cthulhu is okay, spot hidden or research. If you fail, you're kind of stuck, right? Because that's the clue you need to move the scenario along.
Mm-hmm.
So at least if you do it with core, if there's a yes but and a no and, you can get around that, because that's everybody's always complaint about Call of Cthulhu is, right, okay, well, you've killed everything, you've done great on your on all of those kind of roles, but all the shit that you have, deciphering this page or finding this secret thing, if you fail those roles, you're kind of stuck, right? At least with you do it with core, if you're running it, you can say, okay, well, I really need the guys, or I really need them to get this clue or find this out. I can weasel it in on a failed roll with a bot, that kind of thing. So you can kind of shoehorn in it a bit better, because that's always everybody's complaint is, we ran the scenario, but all those ancillary things that would have fleshed out the story or given some background, you failed all those roles. And your library use, no one made a friggin' library use, so you didn't get it. But at least with this, you can kind of, weasel it in a bit with those roles, by doing it almost like an improv thing, just, okay, well, you went to the library, it was closed, but, the librarian was at the bar next door and you were talking to him, kind of thing. There's a way to kind of get that in. So it works good with that, trying to get those extra clues in or building the narrative around it.
Well, and that's what's great about the dice, is because you have that narrative style. So it's, Kurt says, well, do I know anything about these deep ones? Like, I don't know. Let's roll and find out. Because if you get a yes and or a yes, then you do. Yeah. You may get a no, but it sounds familiar, right? So like the dice sort of inform the narrative.
Yeah, and it's not just a straight pass or fail, right? So obviously, in Call of Cthulhu,
sometimes
there's the extreme success and that kind of stuff. But in Core, that does give you a bit of an option of, there is a failure, but you get something out of it, or there's a success, but you have a hindrance to that success. So that's the kind of cool thing about that. It's just not a binary yes or no, I failed, I succeeded kind of thing. So I think that's what's really cool about doing it this way, is it gives you a bit more flexibility. Either the player's coming up with something or the person running it saying, this sounds kind of cool. This is the image I had of my character. Why don't we, do this in? Because if we went by, roles on any other thing, there's really no way to play that out. So it's actually really cool to have that extra dynamic there.
Yeah. The thing that seems to me that needs to be worked on is using shock and trauma, with that narrative scale. So if you do fail a psyche check, I think it just goes straight to the shock table and see what happens.
Because in Cthulhu it is, if you lose 5, whatever, the 5 in one go or 20%. Yeah, exactly. So I think for this, because obviously Arthur had 3 of them, right? And it didn't have any kind of lasting effect. I think
none of them were in combat, really.
Yeah, exactly. So if there's a way you tie that in, okay. So if you have that shock, there, I don't know if you have 1 shock, you need to get 2 shocks to get a trauma, or some kind of mechanic that way. But I think that's the way to do it, is having that. Okay, well, if you've seen some kind of weird monster and your buddy getting killed, that's going to have some kind of lasting effect. So maybe that triggers, the trauma on the other end. So,
did any of you guys fail your psyche checks with a no end? Because that would be trauma.
Maybe that's the way to do it on the dice, is, whether it's if it's a failure and a yes but or a no and kind of thing. Yeah. Then you play on that dynamic to tie that in, instead of having the sanity where you check them down. Maybe it is leave it up to the dice. If you fail and there's an and, maybe that and is the trauma. Maybe that's the trick to get that.
That's written into the rules, and I completely forgot. I think we had at least 1 no and on a psyche, and I just totally forgot. I mean, this is the first time I've run Core, and I'm not great at it at all. It was kind of rough. I was excited to run it because I was like, oh, this should be fine. And then it was like, oh, I am completely out of my element right now.
But the cool thing about Core, though, is then it pushes a bit of that back onto the players, right? Unless you're running it and you go in saying, for every yes and or no but, I have these permutations. Yeah. It leaves it up to the players, right? Like me.
And it should.
I reached in to grab the bullet and I dropped one. That it gives more the impetus back on the players. And I think that's a bit fun, because then you can say, I have this idea. Whoever's running it says, well, no, I have this idea. And then you can decide which one makes more narrative sense, or which is more fun, or which fits in. So that's the fun thing about Core is, you're not just sitting there saying, okay, the DM rolled that, so I lose. And that, it's not a straight up, 1-to-1 kind of thing. There is a bit of that back and forth, and you can build a narrative a lot better with the Core kind of thing. Yeah. You're not getting railroaded, because it's not, well, the book says do this, then do that. It does make it a bit more fun, that you can be a bit more, inventive when coming up with stuff.
Yeah. And we had a ton of ties. Todd's messaging me in the thing. So a tie is always a yes, but so we never. I mean, it seems like, and again, like Todd handles all of that stuff, right? So like if we're in combat, we just start throwing out numbers, and he's just like, yeah, it's this. We're like, we don't ever really think about it, which makes it sort of weird. Then when then you have to engage with that side of the mechanics to be like, oh shit, that means this, doesn't it? Oh, okay, right. Because it's a tie, it's a yes. It's a yes, but because you're hitting the number, right? Like it's the same as if you were attempting to, hit a DL5 and you roll 5, it's a yes, but. Well, if I'm trying to shoot you and you're trying to shoot me and we both roll 5, you're trying to hit that number. So it's the number on the nose. So it's the yes, but. Makes complete sense. It's completely simple, but like when you're not used to doing it, it's like,
well, yeah, and as you said, Todd always does it behind the screen, so you don't know. He just tells you. So
yeah, well, and it's one of those things that, again, this is the first time you're running core. This is the first time you're running COREthulhu. Like it's gonna be clanky because you're gonna be like, okay, well, wait a minute, what do we do here? But I still think for a demo playtest, whatever you want to call it, it still went really well. The only times that it ever kind of got a little janky, I think, is when we had those ties, because it was like, okay, well, how do we do the butt between the two people that it's happening against? And I think that just comes with time.
And like you said,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say we started today with 4 players potentially, and wound up with 2. So like the nature of the thing sort of changed a little bit over the course of the day too. Because
well, you do know if we added more players, it would went a lot longer.
So yeah, we would have had to have part 3 or something like that, and like
I know.
This is a good system to do stuff like this for new players, right? Because if we were doing this in another system that is a lot crunchier, then it's looking stuff up and all that. So if you're making it up on the fly on a different system, you're going to be way off of what the system says to do, because you're just like, well, this feels like it works better. This one, okay, so when there was a tie, we didn't do the yes, but we weren't that far off, right? We didn't completely go against what was expected. So it's more fun. I think this system's more fun for doing a one shot or a demo, or new people that hadn't done it before, because there isn't all that crunchy stuff, and you can play with it where there is a lot more of back and forth between everybody. You're not looking up, resistance tables and all that kind of stuff. So it moves a lot smoother on this with core than it would be for other things.
The other big difference too is, like you said, in the mechanics, as far as it being super, like Call of Cthulhu being super crunchy. Core is meant to be run, in full bleed, as it were, right? Like you want to mine that psychic content. Like when we were on the boat and you're like, oh yeah, like he's super uncomfortable. I was like, oh, hates the water. And then you're like, oh, he fucking already sunk. And I'm typing the Todd on the other computer, like, oh, he's gonna sink again. Here it is, right? Like it's all fucking sunk. But then like you get off the water and then it sort of leaves that sort of psychic content behind and again, for a one shot, it's hard to pull, like, where does that bleed come from? It's not like you guys weren't invested, but like if Kurt had played the artist, he'd come up with a life shaper for like, oh, he drew a painting of something that like the painting looked back at him or something along those lines. If you investigated the study, there was a painting of a creature looking through the window at the guy who painted it, which would have been a beautiful thing to pull on.
Nice. And
sort of like push that psychic content. As it turns out, we needed the FBI agent for this to be survivable. And it was like a one note sort of thing. Like you would have gotten information for that. But as it turns out, you guys didn't even do the study. So like had he actually played, said, fuck it, I'll just play and we'll see what happens, it wouldn't have come up at all.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would have with a different, character. Maybe they would have been, more interested in looking, who knows? But
yeah, you never know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's meant to run at like full bleed mode. Like if anybody that's listened to the Day Trippers game knows, like that's where the meat of it is, right? Like it's not in like, hey, give me an awareness check or give me a perception check or give me this check. It's more about the story and the feeling and like, how do you guys feel in the moment? The other thing that felt kind of weird is like, again, like my two corollaries kind of as far as like the stress mechanic for aliens and then like, Call of Cthulhu in general. It's like how often to call for a stress, a shock check, right? Because it is, like when you see the deep one for the first time, for sure. When you see the blood, for sure. Like I was trying to use the scenario for sort of like where they had keyed in for like make a sand check. But then I kind of feel like because you're trying to run it in full bleed, like, wow, you're in this fucked up situation. I think you should probably give me a check, right? Because like, how are you guys? And maybe I should have followed up with, and how are you guys feeling? Like, what's going on in your head at this moment when you see blah blah blah?
Yeah.
And again, I think maybe it's because I haven't run core before. Like I'm trying to be cognizant of it, but it's sort of like, well, I just called for a check when you saw the bullets, and then like 2 seconds later when you walk down the hall and see the blood, and I'm like, well, maybe that's not, but like your friend is there and there's bullets in the floor and you can't find anybody. Like to me, that sounds like that would be a psyche check, right? Like, Are you able to keep it together knowing what that your friend is here? So like, I think some of that's just like me as a GM trying to figure stuff out, maybe not necessarily indicative of how COREthulhu runs, in and of itself. I don't know if you guys agree, disagree.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, and I think one of the things with Cthulhu-based games that people have to kind of remind themselves too is like, okay, we understand like this is a horror game and you're playing these horror sequences, but sometimes you can't beat that to death too. Where I think some games, like I listen to other podcasts where they play certain games and it's just like, roll this, you're fucked up, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, give them a break a little bit. It doesn't have to be every single thing,
Or you have to build the tension and then back it off and then build the tension and then back it. Like there has to be that tension and recover.
Yeah, exactly. That's what good thriller / horror movies do. It's not just nonstop blah, 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 blah. It's like, after all, it's like, oh, everything's kind of nice for a little bit, but something is gonna happen down the way.
Right. So, and I mean, there is a mechanic for like opposed, like verbal sparring sort of thing. So like early, when Arthur's trying to lie about, no, I'm all straight and narrow. I feel like typically in games, like we rolled more tonight probably than we've rolled in the last 2 months. Like,
yeah, definitely.
But again, like just trying to suss out the system and sort of see, how all the pieces fit together. It felt like it made sense, but it felt cumbersome almost because we typically don't roll anything ever. So it's weird to do it. And again, it was a Call of Cthulhu scenario. If we were to create characters and I was to create a scenario and we're like, to put something together specifically that was more core based, I think the results would be different. But trying to, shoehorn a Call of Cthulhu scenario into core maybe was a little bit more wonky than I expected it to be.
You're going to fall back on what the original, when you're trying to move one to the other. So that one had a lot more roles. So if you wrote something from scratch, you would take the core mechanics into consideration when you're writing it. So, but to me, it didn't seem like there weren't roles that didn't need to be rolled. And when there was dialogue instead of roles, it seemed like it flowed because that made sense. So it didn't feel like it was completely, it was completely jarring. Oh, why are we doing this? Why don't we just play it that way instead of that way? So I think it worked out really well. So there was a lot more roles than we're used to doing, but that's just because we all know each other and we tend to get away with not rolling. But I think it worked out really well considering you're taking from something that was already written for a different system of putting into that one. I think it worked out really good.
All right, cool. I mean, you guys had fun.
Oh yeah, always.
I mean, that's the important thing. I mean,
Exactly.
whether or not it works is, kind of ancillary, but
Yeah. Well, sometimes when things don't work, sometimes you have more fun because it's like, oh shit, this is a shit show. I'm along for the ride. But no, this is good.
No, it was really fun. No, it was really good.
All right, cool. Well, I maybe have to try to put something together next time, specifically with like the theme of core in mind.
Yeah.
And maybe try to pull more of a full bleed, or try to work on something that really kind of hits those notes better.
But I think the fact that we've all played core before, it went better than if none of us had, right? So
yeah.
And I think when we flagged up
doing?
some stuff, it was just for notification of this is what this means. But I think it worked. Yeah, it went really well.
Yeah.
I just wonder if someone were to pick it up and just roll with it, how easy that would be then.
I think it'd be real easy.
Yeah, I think so. I'm maybe not running like so. If nobody's run a game before, may be a bit hard. But I mean, playing it, it's okay. You have a dice pool, you add onto there, and as long as you know the yes and no, but the 5-4, how much you miss it by. As long as you know that, then it is really straightforward. So.
Yeah, and you can play that at its simplest. You don't have to. I think it's just like any kind of game, like whether it be RPG or board game or whatever. It's like you don't have to play all the rules at once. You could just learn the basics to get used to it, and then once you're ready to move up to the next thing, then go for it.
And this is a good system to do that because there's not 500 pages of a keeper's manual to do that. So
and I think that's what Todd had in mind when he made it, because he wanted to be something easy to pick up, easy to play, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it is really.
Yeah.
Thanks, God.
It's great as a player. Like it's so much fun, and it's so easy to be a player in core.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more artistry on the other end too, because I was telling Kurt, when Jesse wasn't able to make it and John had to pass, I was talking to Todd about it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm down to 2, unless you want to run, winky face." And then there's a long pause, and he was like, "Well, that was me thinking about it." And I'm like, I mean, I would have you as a player, but I'm terrified by that.
Well, could you imagine running it with Oscar, right? So you've played games with Oscar, and you're like, okay, let me run Cthulhu Invictus, and the guy who wrote it is going to play. That's going to be that makes perfect sense, right? Yeah, the guy who created this is going to be a player, and I'm going to run it. There's
but also
that thought in your back of your mind.
Yeah, but also I think you also have to check your ego at the door too, because these games are made for everybody to GM them. So it's like, when you're a player, you sign off as the GM is there to lead you in the story. So I understand it. Like I would never do it. I mean, I'd be like, Oscar, here, let me run your game for you, and then you could be embarrassed by everything I do. But it's still, you have to realize that everybody's different. So,
and I guarantee you, if you talk to a lot of the people who've created games, right? It's like they're like, okay, well, no one ever wants to play with me because I created the game. I don't give a shit. I just want to play. I don't care how. I just want someone else to run it except me, right? So I'm sure there's times when Oscar, Scott Glancy goes, someone just run a game. I just want to play, and everyone's too afraid to do it because they're the ones that created it. But they don't care what happens. They just want to roll dice and not have to, be the person running it. So
Yeah, for sure. Todd posted up in the chat that we have, and he says, "I love what Kurt is saying about starting with the basics when you were talking a few minutes ago."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, cool. Thank you guys. I know we went up running I don't know if it's a lot later than I thought, because I figured it would probably take us at least 2.5 hours.
We're like, is it gas or liquid? We expand to fill the container we're in, right? So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so there's suggestions in the beginning of the scenario to like time things in a certain way and like apply pressure here or whatever. Like, but like for us, like I don't care, right? Like we're not on any sort of a time frame other than like Kurt doesn't want to be up until 2 or whatever.
Yeah, it's already it's already the next day, but hey, it's fine.
But yeah, I mean, like we just sort of chew up the scenery.
I think you could put that on a plaque because that's what it is.
I think we all know each other, right? And if that was a problem, it would be brought up. So I don't think nobody really cares, anyways.
I'm gonna make some street signs. I'm gonna send it to everybody. One's gonna be like chew up scenery, ham it up, constant talk, that kind of thing.
Put them behind me so we.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and really, like I said, in the thing, it gave like it had time blocks, like 5 to 10 minutes in, it's this, 10 minutes to 40 minutes in, like is this, and if we wanted to shorten it up, I could have just applied the pressure right away and brought the deep ones in to sort of push us to a conclusion, but like I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it's like something I heard like a million times before. It's like you have to know your players, and obviously, like this is what we do. We don't roll a lot of dice. It's more of just the conversations we have and the stories that we make, and that's why we do it. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't get together and play. Because that's just all what we do.
And there's not that dead air, right? So if there was dead air in between us trying to decide something, then John could railroad it and say, okay, well, I'm going to do this because no one's coming up with anything. I think we're all good with being able to come up with something. And that's what expands a 1 hour demo to 3 hours because we can keep it moving. Yeah. If we couldn't come up with something between the characters, then it would be okay. Well, let's go to this next section where these things come in. So
except for the fact that if that were to happen, then John would be like, "Is everybody okay? No one is talking right now. I'm so confused."
Todd's posting the time frame issue is why he uses the story circle, which is what I do for the Aliens game, which we don't half the time follow because we just sort of dick around until something happens. It says that way it will get hairy when it's Act 3, no matter what. No idea what hairy will mean, but we'll figure it out when we get there. Because we run, more loosey goosey than that. Like, we'll get through a session and do half of, what was loosely planned. And for us, it's fine. I mean, again, if it was a problem, we'd have to adjust, and it's typically not. So we just do what we do. Cool. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for sticking around, for sticking it out, for giving me some feedback on this. We'll definitely have to do it again.
For sure.
Yeah, it was fun.
I have to see how all these pieces fit together. So I want to thank everybody else for checking it out. Thank Todd for co-writing for me in the background, sort of a co-directorial, giving me tips over here on the side. If you enjoyed this, which may be kind of weird because it was, just sort of me being a jackass, but that's fine. If you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the core stuff that we do, Day Trippers and stuff like that, back Todd's Patreon. Todd created Core. The reason we have COREthulhu and World Woodland Association, right? I get it right this time?
No,
right?
no. I refuse to tell you what it is. I'll make you figure it out eventually.
It's furry creatures that wrestle. It's the whole thing.
Exactly. Yep, you got it.
The only reason we have any of this stuff is because Todd created Core. So, if you enjoy Day Trippers, if you enjoy Core, back Todd, link in the show notes. We have our Patreon too. Whatever, we're going to play games. It's fine. We do have coffee for sale, though. A little bit of the money comes back to the show. If you order the Legendary Brew, it's a nice, easy drinking medium roast. You guys hear me say it all the time. It's really good. I enjoy it. It has spoiled me for coffee. For most places that I go, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I should probably just got a soda because it's that good. Like, it's just fantastic. So if you like coffee, if you have someone in your life that likes coffee, have them try out the Legendary Brew, you can go to tinyurl.com/legendary brew or click on the link in the show notes. If you use the code LEGENDS10, you're going to get 10% off your order, and shipping is always free. You could check out me over on Kurt's podcast as well. We play D&D. Well, we play like every other Monday, but it releases when it releases. Kurt's been running a really fun game of D&D over there. We're reaching a climactic portion coming up here soon, so we'll see what happens after that. John is also a player in that game as well. So please check out the MFG cast. And thanks for checking it out. And we'll catch you next time.